nothing to show for it. We're going to show you how to earn more, keep more of what you made, and make money while making a difference. Let's get started.
Oops, that you know what? We need to tag her in that because I had a lot of fun when we did that class. Let me do that real quick. Y'all, this is my little one. Y'all, he wanted to say hi to everybody today. I told him he could not interrupt tonight's class at all. But I'm gonna if y'all just indulge me for a minute, I'm gonna put it in here and I'm gonna tag her, let her know I miss her. Uh-oh. Wait a second. Here, take that out to the other room and see if it sounds good when you get outside the door. That does not sound good in here. Does it sound better? Does it sound, come on, hurry up, please. Does it sound better? No? Ooh, something is wrong with my audio, y'all. Well, look, let me tag her real quick and just tell her I miss her. And then
it's like all pixelated.
Yeah, it's all pixelated. Okay. Let me tag her, but because I think that's funny that I had the wrong intro.
Can you hear me now?
Uh-oh. There we go, Rosalind Henderson.
Rosalind Henderson.
I miss you, lady. We had such good Monday classes that we used to do on Fly Nubian Queen, and they kind of changed direction. I kind of think our classes went with the direction they're on, so I think I need to petition to go back. Let's see if that's any better now. Is that any better now? Nope. Okay, let's do this. Audio. Let's try. Testing. Nope, that's bad. That's bad. Testing. How about this one? Nope, that's bad. Testing. How about this one? I think that's better. Here, go test it out there. Okay, so anyway, I like that little intro. Okay, I forgot about that intro. I really like it. I like the music. Okay, turn it off. Give it back and turn it down. So I think I need to use that intro for the classes, you know? Okay. We're good.
Bye. I'll see you guys later. If I don't fall asleep.
Okay, everybody. We are going to, and I've got something weird going on with my camera because I don't have my my purple pillow that I normally have underneath on my chair, and so I'm at a weird angle for the setup. I'm supposed to be 2 inches higher, which means this would be up higher. It'd be a more natural angle for me to look at the camera, but I'm not. So if I look like I'm reading something or acting crazy, that's probably why. Tonight is our first Thursday of the month, and tonight is our fireside chat. I'm going to answer your questions with what I like to think is style and grace. If you have a question, there are a couple ways that you can ask your question. I'm going to see if I can put them as a ticker at the bottom there. Let's see. Ask your questions. You can post a comment, fill out the anonymous form at JJC. Yeah. Oh, that's right, y'all. Oh, y'all. Wait, have I shown y'all the new website? Okay, hold on. I'm going to have to do this because I don't think all of y'all have seen the new website. It'll take a minute, but this is the Ladies of Wealth website. And on this Ladies of Wealth website, let me stop this share here. And I will show you. Let me add me back to the screen. Let me stop that share, and I'm going to show you the new website. Y'all, I love it. I really do. And it's interesting because sometimes you don't want to do something that's going to up level your environment. And I did not want to. I don't understand why it's taking so long. Okay. Oh, I guess my internet is running slow. That's not good. No, I'm going to, let's see. Okay, here we go. That's the new website. Okay, and I say new, it's been about 2 months or so. It's been about 2 months or so, and I really love it. I did not want to go through the effort of making a new website because the platform I use to distribute all of my podcasts has a pretty decent website. I mean, it's pretty decent. It served me well for these last 6 or 7 years, whatever it's been, and I'm just okay with it. However, for some reason, I couldn't get things to update, and I was applying for a really important speaking engagement, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to spend 1 month on this, and I'm going to take the free trial, and of course, I'm going to cancel it. I used my free trial trick, which I'll share with y'all later. Let me write that down so I don't forget to share it with you later. Okay, my free trial trick. Okay, because I can't stand being sucked in by all these subscriptions that turn out to be fluff and nothing. All right, but this one, I spent about maybe half an hour configuring this site, and then another half an hour or so configuring the customized website name. And y'all, it's so pretty. I'm just so happy with it. I'm actually quite thankful that the Lord forced my hand and had me elevate. And this site has so many neat features. Like, check this out. Over here on the side is a button. You can actually ask your question just with a voice record. You don't have to log in. You don't have to leave your email. You don't have to do any of that stuff. Okay. You just ask your question. And then when I'm ready to answer it on the podcast, I can play it as part of the podcast. So if you have a business, you might want to leave your business name, and how people can contact you if they want more information. You can apply to be a guest. Okay. You can apply to be a guest on here. It tells you about me. It tells you a little bit about our podcast, okay, what we're doing. It gives you a place to put your social links, upload your photo, your website, your bio, all that in one spot. And that way you can just do whatever you got to do, okay? And so I actually have a link here to my media kit. So if you need headshots of me, they're all here. Although now that I see it, I'm like, that's not the best presentation. I'm going to have to figure out something with Google Drive because that's not really cute. But I really love this because I love the fact that you can catch up on old episodes. I love that you can learn more about who I am. And then there's the Ask JJ button. So if you don't want to do the voicemail, you can just ask a question here. Okay. And you don't have to put your real name. Now, if you want to reply, I'm going to need your real email. Like if you want to come on the show and ask your question, I'm going to need your real email. Because if I don't have it, doesn't bother me. Because we do want to be anonymous sometimes with money questions, because sometimes money questions, man, people don't want everybody else knowing their business. So you can be anonymous, but if you're going to be anonymous, I can't bring you on the show. Okay. But if you want your voice on the show and just not your face, you can use this handy dandy little voicemail. I love this feature, y'all. Y'all start using that feature so I can start incorporating it. All right. Okay. So that's the new website. And if you are listening to me talk about the new website as part of the Ladies of Wealth podcast, then I encourage you to go and ladiesofwealth.com and you'll be able to see the new podcast page. Okay. All right. Now let me go ahead and stop that screen and add in the screen that we had before for our fireside chat. And for those of you who are not familiar with me and my body of work, we have different themes for every Thursday. Every first Thursday is fireside chat. This is where I answer your money questions. Now at the end, if I've got the time and the energy and the stamina, we will also do a Juneteenth Legacy update for the conference that's coming up in June. Whoa, next month, y'all. Woo! My goodness. Oh, Lord, bring it all together for me, please, in Jesus' name. But I will tell y'all, today has been the National Day of Prayer. It has been so powerful. They started off at 7 a.m. in the courthouse, and I had school drop off, so I didn't participate in the 7 a.m., but 9 a.m., at noon, at 2 p.m., at 6 p.m., and then the 6 p.m., they're still going. They're doing an all-night vigil. I had to tap out at about 8 because I needed to get back here to teach. And so I was just like, wow, okay, Lord, you are doing something so powerful in the city of Stephenville. And I don't know what the Lord's doing. I just know that I'm saying yes to whatever it is that he's leading and guiding me towards. And I'm asking him to move in that capacity. Okay. And so we may not get to the Juneteenth update. I'm just going to let y'all know, because I have been crying and snorting before the Lord. I have been ministering to people without even intending to. And the Lord has just been there. All right. So let me bring that slide back up. This is the first Thursday. And that is the Fireside chat where I answer questions. Our second Thursdays are our 7-figure business building. So we focus on a multiple stream of income that you can implement. Our third Thursdays is real estate. And then our fourth Thursdays is the empowered entrepreneur. How can you become the person who has what you want out of life? How do you become the person that attracts that into their life with less effort and more results? And so the fifth Thursdays, when we do have a fifth Thursday, that's a wild card. I'm going to be honest with y'all. Sometimes I just put in a replay and spend that time with my family. We've been teaching on Thursday nights for over 10 years now. And sometimes it's just nice for the family to have a break, to just have a break from mama's business. And so, but that's our schedule. And so now I'm going to go into our question that we have for today. And the question stemmed from somebody who wanted to build a business. So this is a great case study. If you have ever wanted to build a consulting or coaching kind of business, or if you have a speaking business and you know that you should be selling courses, but you don't really know how to come up with content for the courses, this is an excellent case study for you, because what I did is what I teach others to do. Someone had a question for me, and in answering their question, I talked about it with other people, other moms, and found out that there was a need. And I said, oh, we need to fill this gap with some training. Okay. And so this question is specifically for a mom who wants to build a business. They want to have they don't have a problem being a stay-at-home mom. Their husband is not mean to them. He doesn't talk about how, she just sits around the house all day. They have a very good partnership. And I was actually pleasantly surprised to find out that they do sit down and talk about their spend plan every month. And I was like, okay, well, what you need to do is y'all need to add some spending cash for each other. But most of the time when I get a stay-at-home mom come to me who is concerned, can we just say it that way? She's concerned about the fact that she doesn't bring anything to the table. Never mind the fact that managing the household in an economical fashion, an efficient fashion, a frugal fashion is a full-time job. Okay, especially you got kiddos running around and you have the commitments that come with being in a small community like I live in today. And so when this person came to me, I thought they were going to fit this other category where they're staying at home. They don't feel like they're contributing anything. They are, but they don't feel like they are. And now their husband is pressuring them to bring in some money, get a job. The kids are in school, do something with your life. Right. And now, to any husbands out there, because I have had conversations like this, and the guy that I'm talking around has been like, oh well, I kind of resemble that husband remark. I want to let you know something, okay? Hey Dennis, I want to let you know something, that for the most part, if you've got somebody working at home, the work that they do to manage the household, keep it clean. And then we're not talking about gender lines here. We're talking about all the things that come from managing the household. When I was chief of protocol for 4-star general, I was very surprised to learn how he had an aide who managed his household, an aide might as well been a maid. That's a whole nother discussion. I really felt for those guys, for those troops and gals. But he had somebody to manage his kitchen, somebody to manage the household, somebody managed the bar. And it was just like all these people that go into running a high level household. And many of us don't know that because we aren't at those levels. And we don't, not only do we not live at those levels, but we don't serve at those levels either. See, household managers, just to pay somebody off the street to do what a stay-at-home parent does, whether a mom or a husband, is going to be at least $75,000 to $100,000 a year. And that's without the love of care of the kids. That's just the household management. You got to schlep kids all around. Oh my goodness, that's even more. So I was not going to talk about this today, y'all, but somebody needs to be encouraged. If you are contributing to the household, then you are making a good progress. Hang on just a second. I hear an Okay, I think we're good. I think we're good now. So if you are participating, and now husbands, if you feel like all she does is sit around watching stories all day, okay, sorry about that, y'all. So I had given my son to test the phone, but I had forgotten to tell him to turn it off. And I was like, where is that echo coming from? It was my fault. Anyway, you know what? I think the devil doesn't want me to get this point out. That's what I think. Okay, I'm going to back and try this again. I am speaking to the husbands of stay-at-home wives. Okay, you might feel like if your wife is not doing, and it could be stay-at-home dad and the mom's the one working. It's just whatever family, right? Whoever. Oh no, I'm blank. See, oh, it came back. I think it's the devil. Satan, the Lord rebuke you in the name of Jesus. If you have a spouse, let's say spouse, okay, husband or wife, we're not going to use those terms today. If you have a stay-at-home spouse, sometimes it's easy to slip in this pattern of, well, all they do is sit around all day and they just watch stories and play on their phone all day. Okay. I want you to understand something about being a stay-at-home spouse. First of all, they are working from the time they get up to the time you go to bed, and probably a couple hours after you go to bed. And second of all, you come home from work and you sit on the TV and you play on your phone or play video games and watch TV for the next 6 hours, while the stay-at-home spouse is probably still managing all the children and getting people to bed and doing whatever else needs to be done, because, you don't just eat dinner and all the dishes magically clean themselves. You don't just give the kid a bath and then the tub magically cleans itself. Somebody's got to do that. And if you're not doing that because you're the breadwinner and the stay-at-home spouse is staying at home and you don't see the work that goes into it, I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of work that goes into it. And I'm also going to tell you there's a lot of work that goes into advocating for your children in the school system. There's a lot of work that goes on in the community to grease the skid so that you can have the career you want and your children can have the activities they want and everybody can live peaceful, especially in a small town. And so I used to, when I was a working mom, I'm going to admit it. And for those of you who are jumping on about the 2-hour business, I'm going to get to it. But this is the reason why this person wanted a 2-hour a day business. Okay. Because, when I was a working mom, I'm going to admit it. I was like, stay at home mom is so easy. I do everything. And I wasn't just look, y'all, I wasn't just a once a week or have my kids go away every other weekend parent. No, when I was single after that divorce, after I moved away, I was a 24/7 single parent. 24. I did not get breaks. I wasn't like the guys who, when I started dating, like, oh, I'm a single dad. Oh, really? How often do you have your child? Every 2 weeks for the weekend? Like, that is not a single dad. I'm not even going to say the term that came to my mind, because you know what? I don't know who's watching my show. But anyway, that is not a father. Okay. You may have contributed to the lineage, but you are not a father. You only see your child every 2 weeks for the weekend. And that's it. Okay. But I was a full-time single mom. And then when I remarried and had the surprise in my 40s baby, then one of the things that happened was he was in Texas, I was in Virginia. Guess who was by herself with 2 kids now? So 24/7, geographically separated, married, but still single mom. All right. So I understood the struggle of having to do everything by yourself. And I thought that when I retired from the Air Force and I came out to live with my husband and we finally joined our households together, that I was just going to be on easy street, because clearly I was making it work. But one of the things that I discovered is I was making it work and I was patching things along and everything was okay, but I wasn't making it work very well. And maybe your family dynamic, I know I just probably offended like 20 million women out there, because most of the people who come to me are hardworking women. You've worked hard to get where you are, and you're just trying to take life to the next level. You know, you're called for more. And so some of you are going to really recoil when you hear me say that, but I just wasn't doing things well. I was doing it. It was working. I was getting promoted at my job. I was doing the things that I needed to do. I was making great changes for our nation to keep our nation safe. And my children were doing well. They weren't in and out of therapy. You know, they were doing well despite multiple medical conditions that had me running to the doctors for this child and that child and all the different things. They were doing all right. But you know what? All right isn't thriving. All right and average is just all right and average. All right in today's world, average in today's world is barely keeping your head afloat. It's barely treading water. It's reaching out for a lifeline, because if you make one false step, it's all going to come tumbling down. That's what life is today. And that's not enough. It's not enough. And I dare say that I am busier now as a stay-at-home mom than I was as a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force in a separate state from my husband with an infant and a 10-year-old. I'm much more busy now, but I'm much more fulfilled. Now, this is not, all of that said, this is not meant to be a philosophical discussion. Boy, I almost filled a podcast on that. Maybe I should talk some more about being a single mom, not single mom, but a stay-at-home mom. Okay, my heart goes out to the single moms out there, because it's tough. It's tough when you're the only. It's tough when you're the only one. It's tough when they're not paying child support. And after a while, the Lord really got a hold of my ex-husband, and he actually did double up. So by the time he was done paying child support for my oldest, he had caught up to all the time that he had missed. And that was a blessing to us. You know, that was a blessing for sure, to be able to buy him all the things that everybody else gets that he might not have been able to afford, you know, because I was still trying to get out of debt. But the thing is a lot of times, if you don't understand what your spouse brings to the table, it's really easy to look at them and point the finger and be like, well, they're not doing good enough. They're not doing enough. You know, I come home in the middle of the day, surprise her, surprise him, and they're on the TV watching stories. Well, that's the downtime. That's the 1 or 2 hours of downtime that they get that day. At least for me and most of the women that I know. And I know a couple of stay-at-home dads. I'm thinking of one in particular who like really helped me out. One of my friend's husbands when I was really struggling after that divorce. And he was a hardworking guy. Anybody that I've personally known. I'm not talking about for the whole world. I know there's a lot of deadbeat dads and a lot of checked out mamas. I've met 1 or 2 that weren't really my friends, but they were friends of a friend. And like they heard their kids are all running around and they're just on their phone. Like, I can't handle this. And I get it. I totally get it. But that's not the experience. You know, the food, the healthy meals that I prepare, they take a long time to cook everything from scratch. A lot of times I'll even make sausage from scratch because of my neurological eating plan. A lot of those things that somebody who's a home economist does is worth far more than you realize. And whether both spouses work, one spouse works, one spouse is the primary breadwinner and the other one brings in just a little bit, regardless of what version of that you have, it's important to be in unity about your money. So in your money, if you are not working and your spouse is the primary breadwinner, you still have to come together and say, okay, how are we spending money this month? What are we going to do? How are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? And, when are we going to do this? When are we going to replace the countertops? When are we going to buy a new lawnmower? When are we going to stop driving on these bald tires and replace the tires? I love how I repoed my son's car. I think he knew I was coming to get it because like it needed the oil change, the tires are bald, and all these other things. I was like, really? Like you. Now I know why he didn't put up a big fight, because he's probably thinking, oh yeah, mom's going to get my car fixed up by the time I earn it back. But like, you got to plan those things out. And we think sometimes that life is just boop, 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 happening, but we got to plan it out. Because one thing I know about cars, the tires wear out every so many years, and each the difference for each car and the difference for each tire, whether it's an 80,000 tire or 100,000 tire. But I know that at a certain point, new tires will be needed. Are we saving for that? I know at a certain point we're going to need graduation stuff, graduation announcements, and spirit this and party that. Are we budgeting for that? Are we planning for that? Or are we going to take that hit all in the month that it happens? We come together, regardless of who's earning what. The important thing is we come together and that we are in unity about what to do with our money. Because I, as a stay-at-home mom, I am a partner with my husband in the execution of the company that is Conway Incorporated. Now, there's no such thing as Conway. Well, there might be, actually. I don't know that. I can't say that. But the family unit is like a business. How are you operating your family unit like a business with a defined purpose, a defined mission, this is what we're doing. This is these are the kinds of trips we take. These are the kinds of donations we give. These are the kinds of charities we support. These are the kinds of things that are important to us. In my family, we love to eat well, and we love sporting events. We love going to sporting events, and I love church events. And so we know that that's the bulk of our primary extra spending. When we get on lockstep with what it is that we want to do, we talk about what we want to do. We have the big calendar to be on lockstep. I am not threatened by the fact that I am a stay-at-home mom. And so normally when a stay-at-home mom comes and asks me the question that I'm going to answer here in a little bit, and for those of you who are just joining, I am digging more into something I wasn't planning on digging into, because I realized, we have almost a podcast episode. Let me just keep adding more on this, because I could talk on this for hours. I'm going to be real with you. I could talk on this for hours because I've lived both sides of the equation. So I feel qualified to talk about being a working mom versus a single mom. Okay. There's so many benefits to being a stay-at-home mom, but a lot of families can't afford to do that. Okay. And so in this case of this person that came to me, they are on lockstep with their budget. But one thing I noticed they needed is she needed to have some monthly pocket money or weekly pocket money. I forget if they were weekly or monthly budgeting, and he needed to have some pocket money, because that way, when you want to go to the tea place and get you some fruit tea, I don't have to call my husband and say, can you Zelle me some money? I have money. He has money. And you should be able to be in lockstep in that. Okay. And then planning is important. When we go to the grocery store on Sunday, of course, we're not going to anticipate everything, but I'm going to do my best to plan. What are we having for dinner? All these. And I know some of y'all highfalutin folks out there, you're going to be like, it doesn't take all that. You can't penny pinch your way to wealth. You can't save your way to wealth. You being frugal doesn't help anybody be wealthy. Well, I'm going to tell you something. How many of y'all got to pay for a house? How many of y'all bought cars for cash in the last year? How many of y'all don't stress when your renter can't pay rent because it's covered because you don't have a loan on that property? How many of y'all are earning, I can't spend it yet, I can't touch it yet, I am older than I look, but I'm not that old yet. How many of y'all are earning tax-free money in your investments? I don't even want to hear all of that anymore, because y'all Gucci in your way to debt. Y'all Louis Vuitton in your way to debt. Now I do like my Louboutins, I will say, and I like the way they treat me at that Dallas showcase. So Maurice and the gang, I love y'all. They're so nice. They're so nice to me when I go in there, and it's part of the sales process. It's part of the experience. But I've been in bougie places that don't treat me nice. So I enjoy the ones who do, and I patronize their businesses. Is that the right word? I patronize their establishments. But I'm not a highfalutin person. I'm not saying you have to have no brand names like me, but I feel like if Gucci is not paying me, I don't need to display Gucci unless I just like what Gucci is offering. I like unique things. I like certain colors. If it's a unique thing and it's in the color I want, then I'm going to buy it, right? But some of us now, oh, I'm gonna rein that back in. I'm gonna rein that back in because I got one more point about being a stay-at-home parent that I want to make. So I got to rein that back in. All right. But some of us, we are so quick to point fingers at all the things we don't want to do to get out of debt and build wealth that we poo the people that really are debt building wealth. And I'm gonna tell you something about some of these. You gotta stop bonking the cord, honey. You gotta be still. Every time you move, you're blanking out my screen. Just lay down and be still. Okay, sorry, y'all. Let me tell you something. Wait, let me just pause again. Let me tell you something about a lot of these gurus. I know a lot of these financial gurus in person. And while they will tell you how to leverage debt and how to have this esoteric thing and how to do credit card arbitrage and what was the new one that was coming out? It was mortgage arbitrage and there's another type of arbitrage that people are doing now. Like they come up with all these things and it's so esoteric and it sounds so cool. And you know what's really great about it? It sells them a lot of courses. But do you know what most of them do in their own private life? They live a debt-free lifestyle and they invest in real estate or the stock market. And if they do take leverage in the form of a loan, they have enough in other assets that if something goes south, they can quickly pay it off. Yeah. So anywho, okay, I don't want anybody listening today to be like, she plans her meals. I don't think I need to listen to her. Hey, you go find somebody else with a paid for house. All right. I'm sorry. I'm feeling myself a little bit today. But seriously though, I plan my meals out. I think about what snacks I'm going to want. And of course I might want something else. That's what the fun money is for, but you plan. And when you're strategic and you plan and you make the plan and you work the plan, then the plan works for you. And so I want to encourage those of you who are stay-at-home, where one of the parents is a stay-at-home parent. I'm going to teach you in the next 30 minutes. And if you're listening on a podcast, it'll be the next episode. I'm going to teach you how to work a business in 2 hours a day. But even if you don't work a business, you can make such a huge contribution to your household. You would be shocked at how much little one spouse has to earn in order to have a fulfilling life when you've got somebody at home managing it well. Okay. All right. So again, if you're listening to this as part of the Ladies of Wealth podcast, I want to encourage you to come join us on Thursday nights because that's when we record these live. You can ask your questions live, or you can actually drop them in the chat, or you can just participate and just get the first fruits. And the best part about it is it's absolutely free. You know, I remember being $800,000 in debt. And I know it didn't matter how amazing the courses were. I wasn't buying it. You could have the most amazing course that was going to get me out of debt in 3 months. I did not have 2 pennies to pinch together. And I was not spending not even $1 on your course. And then once I got to the point where I could spend $1 on your course, nobody had a course for $1. So then I learned how to become an affiliate so I could earn the courses that I wanted to take to boost my business. Okay. But the Thursday nights is free. And I'm always going to have at least one free class a week. Always, because I remember being in that situation and I want to be a pathway to help you grow to success. All right. So with that said, now we're going to move on to the actual question. So this stay-at-home mom wanted to know how she could contribute during the time her children were at school. How could she contribute to the household during the time that her children were in school? And her schedule was very similar to mine. She doesn't live around here, but her schedule was very similar to mine. She dropped her kids off at about 7:30 in the morning and then picked them back up at about 3-ish, 3:20-ish, 3:30. It might be 3:45. I think that, whatever it is, but it's a good long hack. And when we looked at the good long hack and we looked at the things that were important to her, her health care and exercise and things like that, and meal planning and all those kinds of things were super important. And so then it was like, okay, well, I'm going to show you how to carve out a business that doesn't have to take long to grow to self-sustaining, but you only need to really work it about 2 hours a day. Now, before you scoff at me and say there's no way you can build a business for 2 hours a day, let me just casually observe what I remember from the workplace. Can we just talk about, can we be a little bit, can we be real? Are we friends today? Can we talk about the workplace? Can we talk about how people come to work and they basically do nothing all day and then get up in church and testify about how they get paid to do nothing all day? Like, I remember, I won't name the agency, but I remember going to one government agency and they didn't open till 9 and we didn't know that. So we were there at 8:30 and we wanted to be first in the queue, and the ladies come wobbling in. It was kind of waddling in at 9 o'clock. And I was like, hey, I need to get this done. And they're like, oh, no, you don't. We just got here. We're just now clocking in. We're going to go get our coffee. And when we get back from getting our coffee, then you can have the service that you're here for. Oh, y'all, I was so hot. I didn't know that that's how certain systems in this particular government agency worked. And eventually, you know, I sat down and I was trying to find somebody else. Then I was trying to find somebody else to meet the need. And one of the supervisors came in and I explained that we hadn't been helped and he took care of it. But what I've discovered since retiring from the Air Force is that a lot of corporations, there are a lot of people wasting a lot of time and a lot of money. And they're doing the most they can to get away with the least amount of work and make as much of a paycheck as they can. So if you're going to tell me you got to work 8 hours a day in order to build a business, well, I'm going to tell you, if you're focused, you don't have to do that. Now, would you make more money if you were focused on a business for 8 hours a day? I'm not going to argue with that. I'm an entrepreneur. We're known for working 16, 20 hours a day if you let us, right? And so I'm not going to argue with, would you make more? Would you be more successful? Would you get more out of the business? But if you only have 2 hours a day, which when we parsed out her schedule and the things that were important to her, that I felt like 2 hours a day was a safe block that she could carve out. When you're working focused, laser focused on what you're doing and why, 2 hours a day is all you really need. And if many of us entrepreneurs will be honest with ourselves and we would look back over our history, we would note that we spend a whole lot more time rearranging the stuff on our desk, putting the cup just so, and the mouse pad just so, and the motivation pieces just so, and we spend so much time prepping and prepping and prepping. We don't spend any time phone calling. We don't spend any time emailing. We don't spend any time building courses. We don't actually spend time on business building activities. And that's a whole nother discussion, right? Like, what is it about those activities? What is it about the fear? What is it about the imposter syndrome? What is it that's stopping us from executing those business activities? But we'll be in the office all day long. We'll have rearranged this and did that and filed this and filed that and did blah 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 bibbidi bobbidi boo. And you know what? At the end of the day, I can wave that magic wand, but ain't nothing gotten done. But if you can take 2 hours to focus every day, I'm gonna give you off on Sunday or whatever holy day you choose. If you take, you gotta have some rest, right? You work your business hard for 2 hours a day for 6 days a week, every month. It's not going to take you long before you start to see some profits, especially if you have these 3 keys dialed in. All right. So what we're going to talk about now, we're going to talk about, there we go, how to build a business in just 2 hours a day. We're going to talk about the 3 keys that you need to have dialed in so that, whoops, let me go back. Oh, I went too far, too fast. We're going to talk about the 3 keys that you have to have dialed in order to build a business in just 2 hours a day. All right. Now, I'm going to give y'all a bit of a spoiler. I was going to build the class for this tonight. A lot of you know I often don't build the classes until after I build the outline of the class, but I don't actually fill it with all the things because I like to, wait, let me put it on me so y'all can see me here. Okay. A lot of times I don't actually fill out the class. I pre-sell the class, and I do that so that we can, all of us go through it together and I can answer the relevant questions to the people who are taking the class. So at least that first cohort gets personalized attention. And then if we do another cohort, then they get personalized attention. But if they don't, 9 times out of 10, most of the questions that are going to be asked by the first group anyway, or the second group anyway. And you just put all that together and now you have a robust class, right? And so normally I build it out and I'll try to have it ready for you so I can sell it or maybe give it away in the thing. But with the power, y'all, if I could just, I've never known anything interfaith to be, now I don't want to say interfaith because it was definitely a Christian prayer, but I've never known anything with so many different denominations to be such a powerful move of the Holy Spirit. And so I kept saying, okay, well, I'm just going to go for 5 or 10 minutes to support that pastor at their church, and then I'm going to leave. And then an hour later, 2 hours later, the glory of the Lord is still falling. And I'm like, well, I didn't get that class built. I'll have to do it next time after the next one. I got to get to the next one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this. I'm going to give y'all my text number. Text I'm in to 254-454-HOPE. Okay. And I will remember to do that later, but I'm just going to put that out there now so I don't forget to do that later. Okay. You're going to want to text I'm in to 254-454-HOPE. If you are interested in the How to Build Your Business in Just 2 Hours a Day workshop, I haven't scheduled it yet. I have outlined it. I haven't built the Think If It class for you to enroll and pre-register yet. I'll admit I haven't done all those things, but when we get the people who are interested, we will pick a good day to do it, and we will spend a whole day outlining your business. And so with all the different people on there, it's like spending 2 hours. Okay. It's going to be longer than 2 hours because I can't just do you for 2 hours. I got to do somebody else doing it as well. And the next person and the next person. So it's probably going to be an all day thing. Well, hold on. Let me get on you. It's probably going to be a whole day thing. You're working on your part. I'm answering questions with this person. They work that part. And then I'm answering a question for this person and they work that part. So it's going to be kind of like a round robin group coaching kind of thing. Very limited in size, because in order to give that kind of excellence and that kind of attention, I can't have too big of a group. Okay. And so if you are interested in the entire workshop, if you've been wanting to start your business, if you've been feeling like you need to start a business, but you don't know where to start, then I want you to text I'm in to 254-454-HOPE. That's 4673. And that will get you in my queue so that when I ask for the dates and times that work the best, you will be part of the people who get to choose that. Okay. All right. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. Let me go ahead and take that down for now. All right. There are 3 keys that must be dialed in order for you to build a successful business in just 2 hours a day. And you might say, it's impossible. I don't know how I can do this. Who on earth can build a business in just 2 hours a day? Okay. First of all, I want to tell you something. I don't know anything about you because I don't know you. Some of you I might know, but the screen does not tell me who's watching. It just gives me total numbers. Okay. But one thing I know about you is that you work too hard to be this broke. You work too hard to be as broke as you are. For as much effort as you are putting into life, you should have so much more success than you are having right now. For as much effort as you are putting into life, you should have so much more control, right? For as much effort, opportunity, so much better health, so much more of everything, so much more faith, so much more fulfillment in your relationships for the amount of effort that you are putting in. And sometimes we don't even realize that we are our own worst enemy, because we believe if working hard got us here, then working hardest will get us there. We worked hard to get here. We think that working harder will get us there. And we worked hard to get here, and you're not going to stop us from getting there. What we don't realize is this is the hard work that got us here. And you need that hard work to get you here. But it's not about hard work to go up to higher levels. It's about connection and working smarter and emphasizing processes. Okay? That's what you need. That's what you need. Oh, yes. Somebody's asking what's the number. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you. Okay. And again, this class is not out there yet. Okay. This class is not out there yet. I'm going to text it to you when it is. And then we're going to pick the date that works for most of the people. Okay. But one thing I do know about all of us. Okay. So I told you the first thing I know about everybody. One thing I know about everybody, we work too hard to be this broke. Okay. I know for years I worked too hard to be as broke as I was. I made 6 figures and I still didn't have 2 pennies to rub together. Y'all, that's a tragedy. You can't even qualify for any kind of programs or help or anything, but you still have no food to put on the table. I'm not going to complain because I appreciate the Lord for giving me a good salary to help climb out of that $800,000 of debt. But y'all, that was a rough and humbling time in my life that I hope I never have to return to. And I hope you never have to stay in a time like that either. Another thing I know about all of us, and clearly I can't spell, but that's okay. I have traveled all over the world in my military and in my upbringing. We have traveled all over the world. And 2 things that I find that is common to people all over the world is that most of us wish that we had more control over our time. And most of us wish that we had more control over money for the things that we want, the things that we dream about, the things that we care about, the things that provide meaning to our lives. And we work so hard to get access to those things. And yet it just seems to slip through our fingers every time. Well, you implement these 3 keys. You implement these 3 keys that I'm about to tell you. And then you're going to find out just how possible it is to build a self-sustaining business with just 2 hours a day. Okay. The key number 1 is the principle of ikigai. Okay. Now this is a Japanese principle. My little floret here it does not say ikigai. All right. If you remember what this is from, then I want you to drop it in the chat. And the first person who drops this in the chat is going to get $7 to their Cash App. All right. So if you remember where you have seen me teach on this, then I want you to drop it in the chat. It's a very specific training I used to do once a year. And the crazy thing is this Japanese principle, someone taught it to me and I made this chart. They didn't name it ikigai. So I called it highest and best use. and I made this little chart just going off of the principle, and I taught on it for years. And then when I was trying to find an ikigai chart so I could put it in my slide, I couldn't find a good one. So I just went and grabbed this old one. Okay. But highest and best use really should say ikigai. Okay. And the principle behind this is the thing that is going to allow us to have the most profitable and fulfilling life. I want to make sure you understand what I'm saying. You can work hard and be profitable. You can do things that add value and fulfill you, but they don't always result in both at the same time. So what we're going for here is we're going for both fulfillment and profitability. We're going for fulfillment and effectiveness. And so maybe you're not called to be super wealthy, but maybe you're called to accomplish a thing. Maybe there's something the Lord has put in your hands, but you don't know how to do it, or you don't know how to do that and still have a fruitful life, because whatever is being put before you is not what you like. It's not what you want to do. Okay. These are things that keep us from flourishing. And I would submit to you that if something is put in your path by the Lord, then there is an aspect of that is going to be in line with your personality. and is going to be in line with your strength and your talents. And if it's not in line with your strength and talent, that he will provide the way, or he will provide the other person, or he will provide the other resources that make up for the fact that it's not in your strength and challenges, so that this principle will still apply in your life, because you will have your highest success at the intersection of something that you are passionate about, something that you are good at, something the world actually needs, okay, and something that you can be paid for. And one of the biggest problems that I see in businesses, okay, one of the biggest problems I see in businesses, let me see if I can do this on a split screen kind of thing. Can I do this on a split screen? No, I don't see, it's not letting me do that. Okay, I'll just do the big one. Okay, so I was trying to do something because of the way that the AIs cut this after it's done. It's wonky when you have slides like this. I need to figure out a better way. I see a lot of people who love something and they're good at it, and that's their passion, and they just absolutely love it, and they want to make that a business, and are like, oh my goodness, I am going to do this. So let's just say I love this. This is my black queen. This is my black queen. In chess, she is the most powerful player in the game. And I was actually trying to buy a bunch of these because they were on clearance at Hobby Lobby. I was trying to buy a bunch of these so that I could mail them to my clients. But then I found out that they break easy. So if you did not get a black queen, I'm sorry. And if you got a black queen that was all crunched up, I'm sorry. But she is the most powerful piece in the game. And that's why I like to have the reminder of her, especially considering all the things that are going on in the world. Okay. This is the most powerful piece in the game of chess. And in my life, I am the most powerful person in my life other than the Lord. Okay. And so I might say I love the symbology of this, and I have a passion to help empower women's lives. So I'm going to make it my mission to put a black queen in the hands of every woman who needs to be encouraged. So every time she looks at it, she remembers that she has the power. Now, I'm not making this sound good. Don't I make that sound good? Does that sound good? If that sounds good, put that in the chat. Ooh, that sounds good. Like, I'm making this up. I'm totally making this up as I go along. But doesn't that sound good? Like, I could see somebody making it their mission that I'm going to put something in your hands that's going to encourage you all the time, right? I can make that sound really good. I can get all excited about it. You see how excited I got, right? I can make that sound really good, and I can make that really, really exciting, but the world does not need it. A small subset of the world needs it, and niches are riches, all right? So that's a true statement. Niches are riches. Niches are riches. If you neck down the niche, the more you neck it down, the more attractive and dialed in you are to the people that really need what you offer, the more likely you're going to be able to meet their needs and be well compensated for it in the marketplace, right? But not everybody needs this to remember that they are empowered and they can do hard things, and that everything you want is uphill, and not to give up and to always persevere. Like, so that's not necessarily something the world needs. And here's the biggest problem with that, even though it does sound cool. Ain't nobody gonna pay me to do that. Now I might be able to sell these. But if you have ever done retail sales, and I still do, like we make t-shirts for our conferences, right? If you've ever done retail sales, I mean, and I used to have a boutique in my basement, and I would take all my stuff to every church convention I could take it to, and I would sell that stuff, and I'd have money for my offerings, y'all, and money to go on the trips and things like that I wanted to go on. You know, you can sell stuff, but a lot of times when it comes to retail sales in that kind of capacity, you are quite limited in the amount of money you can make for the amount of time, unless you have some seriously dialed in processes. Okay. And we'll talk about processes in a little bit, but I would be a fool to decide that I was going to make my business putting these in the hands of every woman that needs to be reminded that she is enough and that she can do it. It sounds good, but it's not profitable. And so there are other things where people feel like, okay, I'm going to do this thing that I'm good at. Okay, I'm good at something. And people think I'm good enough at it that they can pay me for it, but I really don't love it. And you could do that. That's your profession. Okay, that's your profession. You could do that, but it's not going to push you to the highs and lows of being an entrepreneur. Okay. And so you want to find the intersection of all of these four things. And you want to look for the things that you love, the things that the world needs, and that what you can be paid for and that you're good at. Okay. So, like, for example, I am a financial planner. There are a million financial planners out there. So clearly the world needs it. There are a lot of people who regurgitate the same thing on YouTube. So in one sense, you might say, I don't think that's going to work because ain't nobody going to pay you when they can get it for free 99 on YouTube University. But I'll tell you what, I've got to interview these folks because they've got a fantastic business model. I came across someone who does an online education in music. And I was like, well, what do you do about all the YouTube University folks out there who are giving away stuff like this for free? She said, oh, those are my feeders, because people take those programs and they realize how horrible they are. And then they come to me and they pay for quality. And so in my case, when I look at financial planning, yeah, there's a million financial planners out there, but there's only one JJ Conway. There's a million financial planners out there, but there's only one young lady who's getting older by the day. My body is telling me, my body is reminding me, there's only one. Let me start over. There's only, I'm sorry, y'all. I know y'all don't find it as funny as I do, but I've been up and down in prayer all day, and my knees and my back and my neck are like, no, you are not as young as you think you are. I'll be 50 next month, y'all. And today I'm feeling it. I am feeling it. Okay, Anyway, back to the subject. There's 1,000,001 financial planners out there, but there's only one JJ Conway who was a military single mom who got out of over $800,000 of debt, who preaches and teaches primarily a debt-free lifestyle and has walked the walk. Now, I know other people who've gotten out of similar debt, and I know other people who teach a debt-free lifestyle. I know a lot of others who will help you get out of debt or build wealth with it, but then it comes crashing down on you. I know a lot of that, but I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't know as many landlords. How do I want to say this? I don't know too many landlords or property owners who own the amount of properties that I own or hold in my portfolio in my self-directed IRA that can sleep well at night and don't stress about a vacant property, because they are leveraged to the hilt. Okay. And so I distinguish myself in the marketplace by the things that I stand for and the things that I stand against, and by my life experiences and my willingness to be open and honest with people. That's what people are getting when they pay for my services. And they don't always like it because, we say we want open and honest, but we don't. No, we do not want JJ telling us you need to stop spending all that money. But you know what? I'm going to tell you, most people don't have a money problem. They have a management problem. So anywho, I'm giving you that example because just because we're looking for something that the world can pay you for, and you might think that, well, if it's on YouTube University, nobody's going to pay me. No, you distinguish yourself in the marketplace. They will pay you. You meet the need. They will pay you. You give them an example and hope that they can rise up and do better and achieve the dreams that the Lord has put on their heart, and they will pay you. Because you are opening pathways for them. You are opening up opportunities for them. You are allowing them to borrow your faith in them, your belief in them when they don't even have it for themselves. And for that, you will be compensated in the marketplace. Okay. So that's our first principle. The first key you got to have dialed in. The first key you got to have dialed in is you have got to have that confluence of the things that you love, the things you're good at, the things you get paid for, and what the world needs. Now, I'm going to say this. You're not going to like it, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's not about what you want to say. It's not about what you want to give. It's not about what you want to knit. It's not about what you want to paint. It's not about the t-shirt you want to make. It's not about the book you want to write. Trust me, I've written 13 books and you haven't heard of most of them. You know why? Because they weren't any good. You know why? Because I was writing what I wanted to say. I was not writing what the audience wanted to read. And my first couple of courses, well, actually, I take that back. My very first course was based on John Maxwell content. That was, I still teach that course. Y'all, it still makes me good money. But some of my other courses, they weren't dialed in on what the audience needs. And they weren't dialed in on what the audience wants. And so they flopped because they were just basically me pontificating because I just thought I was so perfect and so amazing and you just be like me and everything's going to be great. That's a whole nother conversation. In your business, you have to find out what the people who are willing to pay you want and need. And sometimes what they want is different from what they need. You got to give them what they want so that they can pay you to give them what they need. That makes sense. Again, I'm looking at the time. I don't have the time to dig into that too much. I got 2 more key principles to give you tonight. Oh, y'all, this workshop that we're going to do, it's going to be fire. I tell you what. All right. Okay. The next thing that we need, the next key that we need is we need easy profit pathways. Okay. And so there are 2, look, there are a bunch of pathways. There are a bunch of pathways that you want to create in your business, but I'm giving you today 2 of the biggest ones. And if you don't have these pathways in your business right now, your business is not going to succeed. However, if you can put these in place right now, I'll bet you will see an increase in your payments, your notifications of payments received. I'll bet you'll see an increase in those within a week if you get this right. Okay. So there's 2 different pathways that we're talking about. The first pathway we're talking about is simply, how do I pay you? And I had to learn to stop making things so complicated. I had these clients in my office one time, and I had them in there, and this appointment was going downhill. You know, this person was a separated veteran, and they had a lot of health issues. And I was like, you really should go to the VA and see about getting disability benefits. And these people, how do I want to say this? I want to say this in a nice, tolerant, and inclusive manner. These people had already made up their mind when they saw me that they did not want to work with me. Okay. And so no matter what I said, the appointment was going downhill fast. And so then I decided to show them if they change their mind, because I really felt like I could help them, but I had offended them by suggesting they go to the VA. If you change your mind, here's how you can connect with me. I went through that website for like 3 minutes of clicking. Now, 3 minutes does not sound like a whole lot of time unless you're clicking and they're watching you. 2 angry people are watching you. And I realized in our website update, I had what's the easiest way to say it? I had made difficult the ability to pay. I had erased, I had removed, I had obliterated their ability to pay me. Nobody could just go click a button and get connected with me. Nobody could click a button and buy what they needed to buy from me. And in the past, it was JJ's courses, JJ's books, easy peasy. Okay. So you want to have a pathway for them to pay you that is easy and removes as much friction as possible. Okay. Now, the other one I want to draw for you, and my pens are over there, so just give me a second. Okay. Give me a second. Oops. I did not mean to do that. Okay. I'm back. Okay. My camera's back on. Okay. Just give me a second, y'all. Oh, I got a sleeping kid. Okay. Give me more than a second because I got to get around sleeping kid without waking sleeping kid. Oh, dear. He's getting so big. Oh, my goodness. Such a cutie. Oh, my goodness. He's so precious. All righty. Wow, you like take up the whole place, kiddo. Okay. All righty, let's draw this out. router. But sleeping. Okay. Okay, okay, I think we're back, y'all. I am going to switch my audio because for some reason it's gone crackly again. Just give it a second. It's just moving real slow, and I'm just going to take my time with it and not click up 20 million things. Okay. All right, good. Okay, so there's two different pathways. I think I said that. Make sure that you guys heard there's two different pathways, okay? The first pathway is you want to make sure people can actually pay you. And so what I mean by that is they actually need to be able to give you their money. Now, you might say, well, first I have to have something to sell them. Yes, you have to have something to sell them. However, you can create pathways to receive money and not have had the thing to sell. Now, let me make sure you don't hear what I'm not saying, okay? Especially those of you who are listening to this as part of the podcast. I don't want you to hear what I'm not saying. I am not saying scam people. I am not saying promise them something and never deliver, okay? So some of y'all heard on my last Juneteenth update that I was kind of feeling convicted because I found out that there were people who never got their recordings. And we're like talking 2 or 3 years in a row. And I had asked the Lord in prayer, I was like, why are certain people not coming in the speaking engagements anymore? Like, they were powerful speakers. I thought we vibed. I thought we had good energy. And I don't know all the reasons until they tell me, but that's one of them, I'm sure. Like 2 years in a row, you didn't get your video. Yeah, I think I would stop coming and speaking at your events too. So that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is there's a way to test out the market, test out the concept, and see if people are interested and if they are willing to pay you before you spend all of the money, okay, to go in and do what's going on? Oh, okay, yeah. Yep, that's it right there. That's the right number. If you're in, text I'm into that number there on the screen. Okay, because you don't know yet. And there's this really neat story from the $100 Startup by Chris Guillebeau, and he talks about this guy who wanted to do some kind of automotive catalog. I forget what it was, but he basically took out an ad in these automotive catalogs and these automotive magazines, and he basically said, this big whatever guide it was, let's just call it automotive guide. I don't know exactly what it was, but it's a $100 Startup by Chris Guillebeau. I should put the link in the thing. That would have been smart of me. Could have my Amazon affiliate link in there. Anyway, if you have an Amazon affiliate link, you can go look up the class and put it in there. And if you beat me to it, well, then you get the credit and you get the affiliate fee. It's only 2 cents, but still every 2 cents adds up. And I like my Amazon paychecks. All right. They're not much per person, but they do add up. Okay. So anyway, this guy wants to put together this automotive guide. He advertises it for $950 in all of these different automotive magazines. You know, like when we used to have magazines and in the back they have all the ads. And he advertised it for $900 and something. And he got 2 people that wrote back and said, yes, I would like this. Well, the guy hadn't actually made it yet. He had the resources and the accesses to make it, but he didn't actually go through all of that to make it. Now this was like 20 years ago. So 950 went a lot further than it does today. And so he wrote each of them and said, well, I'm working on an update. Now, I don't agree with lying, but I'm just giving you the example. Okay. I would phrase it a little differently if I had been the guy, because I'm not trying to lose my anointing over $950. But he wrote back, I'm working on version 2. Would you be willing to wait? And so this is back in the day. I don't know who all remembers that. Who else old enough to remember? You had a little thing in the magazine, you cut it out, your check. and they were both only $1,800 right there. And he used that money to make the production of the book he had been working on, the automotive guide. And so there are things that you can do, but you have to have a way for people to pay you. And in today's world, there's so many easy ways for people to pay you. Now, each one of them has their pitfalls. You know, I know so many people who've been burned by Zelle. I know so many people who've been burned by PayPal. I know so many people who've been burned by Cash App. I know so many people who've been burned by Venmo. Actually, I gotta say, I don't know that many people who've been burned by Venmo. I'll dial that one back because actually nobody comes to mind, but I'm sure there's at least one. But I know plenty of others from the other platforms, you know. But things like Stripe are free. They're free, but you have to have a bank account, and so you have to set these things up. And so you want to have these things set up and you want to have them ready so that when you have something to test the market with, you have that payment pathway for them to actually pay you. And then you want to audit your processes to make sure that they can actually, when they see the item on your Facebook that you're advertising, and you send them a link to where they can go get it, or you say inbox me, and then you inbox them a link to where they can go get it, that link takes them to where they can pay you, and not takes them to this page and this page and this page and this page and this page. Now you may want a landing page. If you're selling something that's like $5,000, then yeah, you probably need a landing page. But you know, for a $9 ebook, I'm not clicking 20 times. I'm just not. I'm like, what is this? You know, people be like, give me, you know, here, download my free book on is homeschooling right for me. And then they want like 40 pages of your information. I'm like, you know what? I can do Google research on my own. I can ask ChatGPT. So you want to make a pathway that's easy and doesn't block people. And then as your business grows, you're going to want to audit that, because you don't want to end up like me after a new website refresh on my website, trying to tell people who are already deciding they don't want to work with me. And I'm trying, and they're there for the appointment, and I'm giving them good information. And so what happens sometimes, when people realize that we are not who they thought that we were, or they realize they just don't want to work with us for whatever reason, then what they are doing is they have made that emotional decision, and now they are trying to find a logical reason to say no to you. And that's what these people were doing, because everything they were coming out with, I was coming back. Oh, well, you know, I'm not lazy just trying to siphon money from the government. I'm not trying to encourage you to be lazy. You worked at this base and this base and this base, all those bases. And you know what's so funny is now they've come out with all the issues in the news, but we already knew that those bases had issues. And so, like, I'm not trying to cheat the government out of any money. You worked in this place, you breathed those fumes. You probably have some kind of medical conditions that, if they haven't manifest right now, they will manifest in 10 to 20 years. I used to work in the office where they paid all the nuclear widows. A lot of things don't manifest until later. And so basically these people, you know, they got so offended, and I finally got irritated. I was like, well, you're both so severely overweight. You might as well go get some help. Because I was mad. I was just like, okay, because after the website fiasco, and then they had to throw another dig about, we would never work with somebody who wants us to scam the government. I'm like, it's not scamming the government if it's your benefit that you are owed. It's this nation took its pound of, well, it didn't take enough pounds of flesh out of them, honestly. I mean, I kind of resemble that now after my retirement, but I was just like, anyway. So anyway, before I insulted them, they were just looking for a reason. And in that instant, I gave them the reason. Oh, well, you're not very organized. How do we know you? We can even trust you with our money. Some financial planner. And nowadays I'd be like, you know what? Bye. I don't need you as a client. But back then I was getting my business started. I was trying to take all the clients I could get, y'all. But I was trying to click and click. There was no way for them to pay me on my website. There was no way for them to book an appointment on my website. There was no way for them to do anything. They could go to Amazon, my Amazon links to my books. That was about it. And so make sure you audit those pathways. Okay, I think I spent way more longer on that than I intended to. So hopefully for the podcast, I can find a way to trim that down. But that's only one of the two big pathways that you need to create, okay? So when we're looking at making sure that you have easy profit pathways, one is they need to be able to pay you. See the money in that? That's what this picture represents. They need to be able to pay you. That's one side of the pathway. The other side of the pathway is they need a growth of value with you, okay? And that's what I wanted to draw out for you today. Now, what you're getting today is serious gold, y'all. I hope that you will adhere to these principles so that you understand how to implement these things in your life, okay? And this is called the value ladder. All right. This is called the value ladder. Okay. So I got this concept from one of my former mentors who helped start the John Maxwell leadership team. And so now it used to be called John Maxwell team. Now it's called Maxwell leadership, and certified trainers or certified team members or something like that. But basically we can teach all of John Maxwell's stuff. We can facilitate and do lunch and learns and work with your corporation to help improve your processes and help your corporation earn more money. So I help people make more money and I help businesses make more money. It's lots of fun. Okay. But one of the things that he told us about John Maxwell is, John Maxwell wanted to get into this certification business where people could take his name and take his work and go out there and do it in corporations. And other companies that license their work like that were charging like $20,000, $35,000, $50,000 to do that certification. And what this mentor of mine said is, well, he said, I had to tell John Maxwell that most people's entry level into you is a $5 to $10 book they got in the airport bookstore. Okay. So entry level, whatever that is for you, you have to understand that you can't make too huge of a jump. Okay. Now, I'm not saying give everything away for free. Now, I believe in giving some things away for free. And the truth be told, I probably give away too much for free. Okay. I probably give away too much for free. But I will never forget when I was in the VA Sister Girls Mastermind. It was my very first business mastermind I was ever in. And I was planning a conference and I was going to make it free so I could get more people in there. And they were like, if JJ Conway gives away one more free thing, we are kicking her out of the group. So I set my conference ticket price to $25. And I didn't have faith that people were going to pay that, because the speaker lineup was me and 4 people that I had met that none of us were well known. But y'all, we did really well with that for being a first conference. I think we had about 40 people come, and we didn't, how do I want to say it? I don't want to go into all that. We had about 40 people come, and that's money I wouldn't have had to actually be able to hire a high quality photographer, to actually be able to hire this and be able to hire that and do these things if I hadn't charged for tickets. Okay. But if I, being somebody that wasn't known, started trying to charge $2,500 a pop, nobody was going to buy that. Okay. So you want to have in your value ladder, you want to have something entry level. Now, if nobody knows you yet, then what you do is, we're going to make this the grass here. Okay. You want to do what they call a lead magnet. This is free. I know some of you have already heard this. Just hang with me for a second. Okay. You want to start with a lead magnet. That's something for free. Okay. So what's a lead magnet? A lead magnet can be your 7 ways to build a business from home. Okay. This webinar could be a lead magnet. I could turn this webinar into a lead magnet. Basically, the lead magnet, the purpose of the lead magnet is to, let me get another color here. Oh, I just dropped a lid. Come back here. Okay. The purpose of the lead magnet is to get contact info. And that contact info helps you build a relationship. Now, I have too big of a list to do this now, but for the first 2 years or so of my business, when I was still active duty military and my list was maybe like 200, 225 people up, I think once I crossed about 1,000, I couldn't do this anymore. But at 200 and something people, I used to pray for every one of those people once a week. And now I pray for groups. I pray for groups and I ask if anybody has a prayer request, when I remember to do it. But people send me them. So like I don't have to go out soliciting them anymore. People send them to me. So if I haven't prayed for you in a while, you need to send me your prayer request because I stay praying, y'all. But you're getting their contact information and you're putting them into a system that allows you to build a relationship with those people that moves them up the value ladder. Okay. So that's the grass. Okay. I probably could have made that all green, but that's the grass your ladder is on. Okay. And then once you're building that relationship, now you start moving them up the ladder. And so maybe you have the free lead magnet. Let me find something I can use as an example here. Okay. We've got the Authentic Abundance class. Okay. A free lead magnet might be a webinar on the science of getting rich. That's what this book is based on. Inside this guided study is a reprint of the Science of Getting Rich original version by Wallace D. Wattles. Okay. And so maybe my lead magnet is a webinar, an intro webinar on this. And then maybe the next step, because this is a $500 class, and maybe the next step is a $29 mini class. And maybe I make that like 3 sessions, and I have guidebooks, and I have video and audio. And I like to make my audio downloadable. If you guys have been in my classes for a while, you'll notice that I'm switching providers because SoundCloud is making people create accounts now in order to download. And so I don't like that. Like, you already have to log into my platform in order to download my course. So I don't want you to have to log into mine and then go to somebody else's site and download it. I just want you to be able to click the download button and get it. Okay. But maybe I do a $29 mini course. Maybe it's 3 lessons. Oh, you guys can't really read that. It's 3 lessons. I do a guidebook for each lesson, which is super easy to do with AI now, right? And then you can record it in one of these streaming softwares that offers a free platform, and they will even chop it up and they will put the subtitles on it for you. I mean, you can do a lot with AI now, even if you don't know how to use it or don't buy into the advanced version of ChatGPT, right? But I just have some videos and I have some MP3s. I have the videos and I import the videos into my free Audacity software and I create MP3s out of them. Like, this is not stuff that costs me any money to do. It costs time. And once you set it up, it's set up. And so some of you might remember my mini class. Oh, I don't remember what it was called. It's the one with the blue ducks. That class was really good for me. I literally recorded that rooming with somebody at John Maxwell or maybe it was Women in Cloud or one of the conferences I was at. I recorded that whole class in like an hour. And I had a lot of starts and stops. And so, like each of the sessions was like 4 or 5 to 7 minutes, but it took about an hour because I had so many mistakes. But I literally put myself in the one corner of my hotel room that didn't look like a hotel room, filmed the class, put it in the system because I was going to speak at this conference and I wanted to have something to sell them. And I hadn't had anything to sell them because I wasn't thinking that way. Okay. But maybe you put in a mini class and then maybe you make it something like $29. I know a very wealthy financial guru who makes her entry level stuff $9. Now notice what I didn't do. I didn't put entry level with the lead magnet. This is a mistake we do. We feel like people have entered our campus with the free magnet. They have entered our ecosystem, yes, but they are still floating out there in the air. They have not walked into the building of our business yet. They are just there. They are there, and if something free comes along, they'll do it, but they're just kind of floating along, bouncing around to all the different free 99 stuff that's out there. They have not entered yet. And it's not, I'm not going to have the time today to explain why that's important, but that's important down the line when you're choosing who and how to market to. You need to have an entry level that is a gate to filter out the people who are serious versus the people who are just around for the free samples. Okay. That doesn't mean somebody who's just for the free samples can't become serious, because when I was $800,000 in debt, you bet believe I was only for free samples. That was all you were getting out of me, unless you had an affiliate program where I could earn what I needed to buy your classes. All right. So then I've got my mini class. I'm selling it for $29. Okay. And so then the logical next step to that would be a full day class, right? It could be a full day class, or I wonder if you guys will be able to see that. Let's see if y'all will be able to see that. Okay, it might be a full day class, and I might do that at $99. Can y'all see that? If I do that different color, it's hard to see. Well, we'll go with that. I'm just gonna. No, we're not. We're not. That's gonna bother me. Let's try this blue one. I was trying to do rainbow colors, but I don't have an orange. Oh, now this blue and yellow makes green. Okay, so now we've got a kind of a light green there. $99 would be like a logical next step, right? And so in that, I could do all kinds of things. I could do a more deeper class. I could do coaching. But I'm gonna be honest with y'all. A lot of people call themselves coaches right now. If you haven't had success with coaching, I wouldn't necessarily try to sell that unless people are already coming to you for it, because everybody calls themselves a coach, and people are kind of burnt out on folks that call themselves a coach, but they don't have any results to back it up. But if you already have results of coaching that you've done and you can provide those testimonials, then yeah, go for it, because it's one of the most empowering things that you'll do for somebody. And it's one of the most fulfilling things that you'll do for somebody, helping coach them to pull the answers they already have in them, help them pull those answers out. It's such a powerful technique. And it could be a deeper class. It could be coaching. It could be, give me some suggestions in the chat. Give me some suggestions in the chat. If you have something else that you might have paid $99 for. I have paid $99. Well, I'm kind of frugal. A deeper class. It might be some coaching. Maybe a group mastermind. Okay, group mastermind. Okay. A group mastermind is where you get everybody together. So like maybe, for example, you're studying Think and Grow Rich, which we do as an online mastermind. We do as a group mastermind. We do it on Zoom, and we do streaming like this. So we stream some lessons publicly and the others are behind closed doors. You get a group of people together, you take a chapter a week, and you find out what people learned from the chapter. Now, I will be honest with you. Masterminds are my most difficult moneymaker. Not because people don't buy them. They do, but it's because I don't like the mastermind method of learning. I don't learn well with all of everybody's different opinions. And so if you are like me today and you feel like, well, why would I do a mastermind? You have to remember, it's not about you learning from everybody's opinions. The learn comes from the person themselves reading the content and then applying it to their lives. So that's where these group mastermind can come in. Okay. You're going to get a group together. Maybe that's $99. All right. And so then maybe I'm going to do something. Now there's more rungs I could put in here. Okay. Maybe I do a $299 or a $199. And then, I'm don't have space on the paper to do all the rungs of the ladder that I might like to do. Okay. But maybe the next step is going to be a $499 12-week intensive, or a $499 done with you. Okay, I'm going to put $499 done with you. Okay. Now, when I say done with you, $499 done with you. And if you're watching this, or if you are listening to this as part of the podcast, please, sir, please, ma'am, go out to YouTube so you can see what I'm drawing as a value ladder. I am trying to be as descriptive as I can verbally, but sometimes it's easier to see it. Okay. This done with you is basically you and I are working together one-on-one to create your solution. Okay. And so down here at the lead magnet and the entry level, I am providing you the information that you need, and you're going to take it and run with it and implement it and do it yourself. As we move up the value ladder, now you're getting more of JJ Conway's time. You're getting more of my hands-on. You're getting more of my research. You're getting more of my availability. Okay. And so that's what these done with you solutions would be. Now, this is not a hard or fast rule. I'm just giving you an example for somebody who's just starting out in their business. Okay. But there's a done with you. So maybe your business is providing, we just bought some from a lady on Etsy who provides domino toppling patterns. So we went in and we did a STEM fair where we had the dominoes and people could knock them down. The kids could build them up and knock them down. She sold patterns to put dominoes on. And me and my son made some patterns, but we needed more and we needed them faster. And it takes a long time to make those patterns. So maybe that's your business today. Well, that would be her entry level. Would be buying those mini sheets. That was her entry level. The next level up was buying bigger ones. And then the next level up she didn't do, but the next level up could be she could teach you how to make your own and walk you through how to make your own. And you could walk through it with her at your side as you do it. You're doing the work, but she's helping you. Okay. Your client is doing the work, but you're helping them. Okay. The next level up might be. Okay. Let's see. I'm running out of colors. Okay, I guess we'll go back to red. Now, I know I had a ton of colors in this. I think my son kind of stole off with them. The next one, we're just gonna put up here maybe a 1997 done for you. Or you could do one-on-one coaching for like 12 weeks. You could do a higher level package of where you bring people together. So if I am going to collaborate, I might bring together somebody who's going to help you with your health, because a lot of our wealth is in our health, right? I'll bring somebody in who can help us with our relationships, because we lose a lot of money in dealing with trauma. Like, this sounds good, doesn't it? I'm making it up as I go, but it sounds good. I can bring in these people together, and now you have a comprehensive solution. Okay, that is really poor spelling in public, but you know what? Y'all don't, it's okay. You get the point, right? So, and then you're just working people up the ladder. But what's working people up the ladder is the relationship that you're building with them. And the relationship that you're building with them, you're building that relationship through email, phone, social media, events, whatever works for you. Okay. You're building that relationship all the way, and you're providing value at each level so that it's not hard for them to jump to the next level. Okay. And then once you get up towards the top of the ladder, and again, the ladder could just go however much, that's when you have your bigger packages, your 10Ks, your 35Ks. I even have, look, if y'all have a big company that you want to create a high performing team, I've even got a 100K 1 week intensive. I would hire another trainer, and we would come in and we would do the personality stuff. We would do the Firebee. We would do some John Maxwell leadership education. We would do coaching. We would do all these things. I have a standard curriculum at 100K value ladder. Okay. And this value ladder is how you take somebody on a journey, on a pathway for profit. What a lot of us do is we're like, I'm going to start a business. I'm just going to jump right into $4.99. Nobody's ever heard of me. Nobody knows anything about me. Nobody knows my expertise, but I'm going to sell to them for $2,000 because I'm that amazing. You might be that amazing. I wasn't. I had to work people up a value ladder. Okay. And again, I have spent way longer on that. I don't know how these are going to pan out for the podcast. If you are listening as part of the podcast, I beg your indulgence and your grace and your forgiveness. I am still honestly trying to adjust to the new schedule and the new timeline breakdowns that we're doing and the new formats. And there's just a lot of new, and I am the problem. As David said in the Bible, I am the man, or I think that's actually what the prophet said to him. But anyway, I am the one. I am the problem. What is it? Where does it say? No, I don't have it. I don't have it up anymore. Anyway, the buck stops here. Okay. So I'm trying, y'all, and we'll get there. We'll get there one day. It's a work in progress. Okay. So I appreciate your grace and your perseverance and your patience. Okay. So that's key number 2, profit pathways. You want a profit pathway that they can pay you easily. You want a profit pathway that takes them up the journey. Let me say one more thing. About this value ladder. Okay. This value ladder, along this way, you can have like, this is where down here is standard down at the bottom. And then all the way up to the ladder. The higher you get up the ladder, the more custom. Okay. So standard stuff at the bottom. This mini class is what it is. I don't change it because you came onto my platform. But when we get up the chain, if I have for my success strategies class, okay, I have a version for musicians, and we kick that off in every February after the Texas Music Educator conference. Then I have another version for summer. That's our summer success series, right? Then I have another version for everybody. I will customize that slightly by offering different versions, cycling through it, starting it every year, right? Well, then the more custom it is, the higher price points you can do. And so some of us have crafts, and I'm thinking of someone who did wreaths, and I'm thinking of somebody else who did crocheting. Now, the crochet dolls is really big right now, but it wasn't big 10 years ago. Okay. When I first met this young lady, and with the wreaths, I quickly discovered that the ladies who were doing the custom Steelers wreaths and your college and special things like that, you choose the colors on, they were able to command higher prices. But the lady who was crocheting stuff, she was trying to commit. Okay, let's be real. Nobody's paying $19.97 for a wreath. They're not even paying $4.99 for a wreath unless it's made with all fresh materials. Okay, so they're really down here. Like, this is the highest. I think the wreath I bought was like $35, and it was one of our highest ones. But so the ladder concept, yes, these numbers not for this business. Okay, but the problem was the person who did the crocheting. She wanted to charge the high prices that are equivalent to her time that she put in and the quality of the materials that she purchased for the project. The problem for her is people aren't going to pay $50 for a crochet pot holder when they can go to Walmart and get a silicone one for like $5. And she's like, but I put so much time and effort and materials into this. And I was like, that's not going to fly. The only way you are going to be able to get back, if at all, because I kind of thought that maybe her choice of materials was too upscale for the clients she was trying to sell to. But that, she didn't hire me for that. She didn't actually, that wasn't what we were talking about at the time. Okay. So I always, when I consult with somebody, I look for the biggest bang for the buck that we can get first. And if you buy more time later, then we'll dig into more issues. But that doesn't mean I don't see all the issues. I see all the issues. I see a lot of the issues. I may not see 100% of the issues, but in that first meeting, I can usually see about 90% of them. But we always focus on the biggest one first, because if you never come back to me, actually, let me rephrase that. That was about to come out wrong. When you see the impact that we made, you will come back because we made such impact right there. And one easy thing that you could easily tweak. Okay. So with her, it was like, okay, well, the way you're going to be able to command higher prices in this space is to offer customization. So instead of creating a whole bunch of crochet pot holders and bringing them to the trade show and hoping somebody likes what you have, transform that into a culture where people are pre-ordering and they meet you at the trade show to pick it up. Why am I using something that doesn't apply to what I just spent 20 minutes talking about? Because some of you have craft-based businesses, or you have businesses that we're pouring a lot of love into whatever it is that you are producing. Okay. You have to understand what you're competing against. You know, even I wasn't making the pageant dresses, but the little $80 to $100 pageant dresses that I used to sell out of my basement, people don't wear those to church anymore. If they do, they wear fancy dresses on Easter, but they're not paying $80 for a pageant dress. They're paying $10 for a Walmart dress. And that pageant dress at $80 maybe only cost me $25, but still, if they're only paying $10 at Walmart, I'm not going to make that sale unless I can do something with that dress that elevates it in the eyes of the buyer. Okay, so even if you have a craft business, you still have to think about what kind of value ladder that you have. And if you can't get something down here at the low price points where people are willing to take a chance on you and spend their money when they don't know of you yet, then maybe you can find alternative things at those lower price points. You know, maybe I saw somebody on here. I don't know if she still does it, but she had the coolest artwork, y'all. And I don't know how much she was charging for it. I'm imagining that each one of those beautiful custom pieces was probably like between $500 and $1,000. I don't know. I never asked her. And if you're still on, feel free. What's that? Don't show again. Can I hold up the ladder again? Oh, okay. If you're still on, here's the ladder. And if you're still on, tell people about your painting business if you're still doing it. Okay. She might have already left. But just in case, she had these beautiful artworks. Okay. If you are doing something custom like that, luxury like that, well, then your value ladder starts at a higher point. But maybe you don't want to only start at a higher point until you get a big name. Maybe you want to do something at a lower point, like have an epoxy class and teach people how to do that. Okay. Teach people how to do it. Oh, here we go. Here we are. You know, look, I'm just going, look, it's my class. I want to do it. I'm going to go see if I can find her class. Hold on. What is it? 2270.com. Let's check it out, y'all. Oh, I just realized I am typing and you are looking at me typing, and I'm sure my face is not flat right now, but that's okay. Okay. Share her screen. Share screen. Come on now. Please cooperate. I know the internet is better. My phone is not, my computer is not loading very fast. Okay. Can y'all see that? Okay. It's coming. Well, that didn't work out as well as I was hoping. Okay. So I'll just talk for some more and then hopefully the site will load because the internet is running. Oh, there it goes. The internet is running really, really slow. Okay. So let's analyze this real quick. I hope it's okay if I put you on the spot like that, okay? So she has this original art. This is just so beautiful, okay? It's so beautiful. And a custom geode painting, $200. Wind painting, like that's an excellent way that's an excellent lead magnet right there. It doesn't cost anything to enter this contest and win this painting. All right. Now, sometimes people are going to want something of value right away. So I'm not going to suggest it for this business because I haven't sat down and looked at her financials to see if this is working for her. But if you have a similar business, you might have a loss leader that's something like, the properties of the qualities of the artwork you have in your home. Like, for example, if you're using different crystals and stuff. I know. We don't get into woo-woo stuff here. We always do everything in this channel. We always do everything in accordance with scripture, but it is a very real scientific fact that certain minerals and crystals can impact the air around you and the world that you walk in. Plants can impact it. Fragrances, people poo-poo essential oils, but even if they're really well done, essential oils and certain crystals and things, we're not invoking anything, we're not protecting against anything, but just from a scientific standpoint of filtering the air and providing minerals and chemicals and things like into the air, some of the things that you bring in can actually help improve your outlook, your mental state, and all that. So if you had a business that used some of that material, and I have not looked at this business to know if we have what's working or what isn't working, but I might put something like, the 3 reasons, the 3 ways artwork enhances your ability to concentrate or helps you make more money or something. I don't know. I'm just making it up. And this time's not as good as the other times I made it up. The other times I was making it up was actually amazing. Okay. But this one's not so much. Okay. So we have the original art. Okay. Look at how beautiful these things are. Okay. And so maybe you don't want to have, I like that, the sapphire one. Maybe you don't want to have, maybe you don't want to have just, what do I want to say? You know what? I need to get one. I have a new office we're opening up. Sorry. I love this lady, y'all. I do. She was one of my very first friends, very, very first adult friends. So, but you know what? If you have didn't mean to do that. If you have a business, I meant to click here. We can go on your business too. Okay. But maybe what you do, is you have, she has all the information here, which I love. Too many people don't have the information that they love. So you don't know what, and you wonder, are they gonna, did I hit everything yet? You wonder if they're actually going to be fly by night with your money. Wait, please tell me I put it back on her. Okay, good. All right. So, but maybe you have intro classes on techniques, and you say, well, why would I want to train up my competition? Well, the reality is the people that you would teach for $99 how to make their own small epoxy work or small gemstone work piece, they're probably not the people who are going to buy a custom piece from you. It's a different clientele until you build a relationship and they're like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. Or they're like me, oh my goodness, this is harder than I thought it was. I'm going to pay somebody else to do this. I really love art. Anyway, I hope that makes sense, y'all, because I'm just making that up on the fly. I just wanted to highlight her art. I love to support people who have been supportive to me. And so you want to have a pathway. You need to have a journey. You cannot just hit me with $1,000 piece of art unless you are a big name. Now, and you don't have to be a big name nationally. If you're selling, this is not me talking to her. Okay. This is not me talking to her. Okay. This is me talking to all of us. If you are well known in your area and you can get away with selling stuff for $1,000 a pop right off the bat, go for it. Make your money. But you have to know the area that you're in and create a pathway to get people to where you want them. When I was in Louisiana, I found out real quick, the financial planning I was doing in DC for $249 an hour was not going to fly in Louisiana. The most I could get out of people there was about $25 an hour. And right before COVID, I was finally working up to about $99 an hour. Well, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not trying to be that bougie, but I have free classes on Thursday nights, so I don't have to take clients at $25 an hour one-on-one. Because to me, by the time I do all my research before the appointment, and by the time I write up the homework after the appointment, and by the time I put it in the portal for you to download, like I'm making less than minimum wage, and I didn't get into business to make less than minimum wage, and neither did you. Okay. And so regardless of where you want to be in the value ladder, make sure you've got a way to bring people with you. Okay. Woo, I spent way more time on that than I intended to. Okay. But there's still one more key we got to talk about. We got to talk about it, because if you're going to build a business that you're only working 2 hours a day, you have to come correct with your processes. Okay. So now we talked a little bit about the processes behind the lead magnet. People give you their information. You put them into a nurturing relationship where you are now building relationship with them through emails and phones and social media. And maybe you host events or whatever else it is that you do that you can build relationship with people. You are building relationship that way. I found when I had the small list, I built relationship by praying for people, and I built relationship with people by The emails, my emails were much more personal than they are now. So those of you who've been on my list, you've noticed a transition to more business, and now I'm trying to bring it back to more personal. So you're going to start seeing those blog posts on Saturdays again. But we had the memes and we had the blog posts and we had all the things. And I realize y'all can't see me. This time I'm trying to talk to you and you can't see me. But we had all these different things. Well, the software that I was using made that easy to do. And then as I grew up in software, I discovered that what made that platform so easy back in the day, nobody else duplicates at lower cost points anymore. So even with that software, when I upgraded that software to accommodate a growing list, it didn't include the things that made it easy for me to build relationship. And so you have to find that balance. And I know for me, I want to send people emails they want to open. I don't want to send you emails that you hit delete on. I do realize it's been like a month since I sent a monthly weekly affirmation, because I thought I set it all up during my cruise and I never actually, nothing went out. And it's just been like weeks now and nothing's got out. But it's important about building relationship. Okay. So you need to have those two things, but you need to have good processes to help you do that. And that's our third key. Our third key to building a business that you just work in 2 hours a day is going to be having efficient processes. Okay. You have to have efficient processes if you're not going to be working longer. Now, y'all. You gotta have efficient processes anyway. You know, if you are wasting time for 8 hours a day, and if you take out all the inefficiencies, you really got 2 hours of work. Well, that's 6 other hours I could be doing something with my family. That's 6 other hours I could be having fun on the beach, you know. And a lot of us, I know, I don't always say things the right way. I don't always say things the nice way. I'm saying this with every ounce of love that I can give you tonight. Sometimes we are lying to ourselves. We think we're doing the thing. We might even do like I do, and we put it on the calendar. But we ain't doing it. We're not doing it. We're not doing it, and the results show it. Okay. So having more efficient processes about some things is going to help you whittle down all of the effort it takes to run, to start, to maintain, to run a business, to whittle that down into 2 hours by having more efficient processes. And then one of the first processes you're going to have to figure out is how to build relationships up that value ladder. And there's software that can help you do it for free. Some people use Instagram, which is still free. You know, some people use Facebook, which is still free. There's a lot of ways to do that for free. And then there are more powerful ways that might cost something. But y'all, I'm actually getting really excited about something that's coming out, because there was a company I used a couple years ago to help with my business. And of course, the person who founded it, they went on to do something else, and the new people have kind of let it flounder a little bit. So I haven't been using it anymore. But that founder, who has founded some of the biggest things that, you know, if I told you, you would know exactly who I'm talking about. They have come up with a new course software, and it's unlimited courses, unlimited communities. And right now it is at a lifetime buy. So instead of paying $500 a month for it, you can pay $500 for life. And I'm waiting for my code to get it down to $297 for you. Okay. I'm waiting for that. And so I'm very excited about that. And, you know, that'll take a lot of load off of people, because that's one thing that will be able to work itself. It will be something that it'll help you with this value ladder. But if you don't have $297 right now, I don't want you spending $297 that you don't have. I want you to get out and earn that money and then come back and earn that money and get the free stuff and come back. What do they say in real estate? The deal of the century comes around once a week. the good deal's always going to come back. See, the high pressure sales tactic. Oh no, there's only one left. And if you don't get it now, you're going to be out forever. You know what? If you don't get it with this gal, somebody else has got it. It'll come back around. If it's for you, it's for you. And if it's not for you, then it's not for you. And if you can't afford it, it's not for you. Ooh, somebody needed to hear that. Somebody about to spend some money on some stuff that they don't have to spend, and they're going to justify it by saying, oh, I'm going to spend this money and I'm going to make 3 times that tomorrow and it's going to be okay. You don't know that. Don't spend your family's food money. Don't spend your emergency savings. I understand you care about your business. I understand you want to grow. And this next tool just seems like it's what you need to do. But I promise you, if you abide by sound financial principles, it'll be more of a blessing than a cursing. The Bible says the curse causeless does not come. That means any curse that comes into our life, there's a reason behind it, whether we caused it or somebody else caused it, or it's for the glory of God, how we get pulled out of it and vindicated through it. But there's always a cause. There's always a reason. And quite frankly, as entrepreneurs, usually the reason is us. Oh, the reason is us. And we don't like it. So if you don't have the money, don't buy the tools. But you do have to have some efficient processes. And the reason I put efficient in here is because we don't know what we don't know until it comes to bite us. And so if you're starting to build a following and you have people email you directly, you need a way to handle those emails. You need a way to be able, you need to set aside time to actually respond to the emails. I know I'm guilty. Some of y'all have emailed me 2 or 3 times like, hey, did you get my email that I've sent you 4 times now? Hey, did you get this invoice? Hey, did you get this contract? Hey, you're speaking on our stage. We need track. Trying to pay you all this money. Like, I really do. It's not a royal we here. When I point my fingers, I got 3 more pointing right back at me when it comes to processes. And every step of your business, you're going to find that you're going to have to refine your processes. So what you want to do is get in the habit of understanding that processes are needed now so that you don't have so much of an aversion to changing processes, updating processes, or being more efficient with processes later. So the first process you really want to have is you want to have a process to manage this relationship. And that doesn't have to be spending $2,000 on some kind of customer relationship software. You know, when you're just starting out, it could be as simple as using your Gmail account. I know. Google does not like marketing emails, but relationship is not built through marketing. You hear what I'm saying? Relationship is not built through marketing. You can take your Google email and send a weekly update at how you're doing and what impact you're having in the world, or inspiring stories or something like that. And you can build up enough relationship, set out a class, maybe a sales, you email everybody once a week. And then in the 7th or 8th week, you offer a class. You're not going to get flagged for spam for that. And you might just make enough with that class to go buy your mailing software. Courses. People are like, oh, well, I gotta spend all this money to make a course. You don't have to spend all this money to make a course. Now, I will say Facebook getting crazy now, y'all. Facebook helped me build a good amount of my business, but you know what they're doing now? They're deleting your videos after 30 days. But YouTube is free. And you can make YouTube videos unlisted, which means nobody can find them unless they have the link. So you can make a 3-part video course on YouTube for free, and you can either do it as a lead magnet, or you can charge a small amount and then set up a series of 3 or 4 emails to deliver each video to the person that bought your entry-level course. That didn't cost you anything. And if you signed up through Stripe or Square or one of those free processing services, they're going to take their 3% or 5% or whatever it is out. But you can make money without having to spend the money first until you've tested the concept and you know that it's going to work. But the bottom line is you got to have a process for building that relationship. And every time that my business has faltered, y'all, it has been because I have somehow dropped the ball, or I have somehow messed up something or disconnected something or bought something and didn't connect it, whatever that messed up my ability to build relationships. And okay, COVID. Yeah, COVID too. Although COVID really helped my business, but then it was the after effect when everybody started saying, we don't want any more Zoom. We want to be in person. That kind of took a dive because my business wasn't ready to return to back in person. But for the most part, anything else that I've done in my business where I can't just put a class out there and sell it, usually it's because I have dropped the ball in relationship building. And I've been through so many different platforms till I settled on the one I'm in now that, yeah, you know, there's been a lot of seams in that process. So you want to have a process to handle that. So you want to have a process to handle your relationship. When you go to a conference, you go to a trade show. I bought some stuff at a trade show. Wonderful stuff. I am never going to be back in that town. And I'm trying to find this vendor. And I cannot find this vendor anywhere. Fantastic product. But I can't find anything with their logo. I can't find anything with their name. I can't find anything under their Facebook. I mean, they don't have a Facebook. They did have a Facebook, but I couldn't find it. Their phone number, their company name, their logos on their product, nothing was available for me to find it. I happened to run into them in my last trip, and I'm like, didn't you sell me blah, blah, blah? I love that. And I was like, well, tell me about I wish y'all had a Facebook or something. Oh, yeah, we have a Facebook. Really? I couldn't find it. So then they give it to me. Y'all, their name was slightly different. Their logo was slightly different. Their number and all that stuff. It was all different than what they put on the product. And so you need to have a process for ensuring that what you do all gels together and matches. I know, I'm not the poster child for that. It's taken me a while, but on most platforms, my photo is either the same or it's obvious that it's me. On most platforms, my handle is JJ Knows the Way, on most platforms. Now I have my pastor picture that I use, and I have my Juneteenth picture that I use, and I have my JJ Conway picture that I use. For the most part, they're consistent across platforms in those different genres, okay? And that's something that you want to do, because if I could have found that person before, I would have ordered more from them. But in the meantime, I found somebody else who had a presence and had what I needed. And when I searched for it, it popped up, okay? And so we want to understand that we need to have processes for that. So there has to be a process for how am I going to make sure all my stuff aligns. And guess what? One part of that process probably needs to be for a lot of us who have all these different platforms and all these different handles, and we don't do anything with the accounts. We either need to find a software that will connect all those accounts. And then I haven't found one yet that connects them all, but I do the ones that most are connected in one thing and roll with it. And, or we need to let some of them go. And because it doesn't help you to have an Instagram that hasn't been updated since 2020, 2015, 2001. I don't even know when Instagram came out. Was Instagram even out in 2001? You know what I mean? Like you get on some pages and it hasn't been updated since 2013. And I'm like, okay, well, that's 12 years ago. I need to know what your business is doing now. It doesn't mean that they're not in business, but they just haven't updated anything. And so, you need a process for relationships. And if you're going to have a social media process, if you're going to have a social media presence, you need to have a process for how to manage that presence, okay? The next process that you want to look at is you do want to look at your fulfillment processes, okay? You want to look at making sure you have efficient processes so that you can get people their orders. Now, if you are selling something digital, this is far easier than if you're selling something that takes a whole lot of customization, and then you have to make it. They have to give you the colors they want. They have to do this and that and the other, and then you have to make it and mail it to them, and they have to approve it and blah, blah. Like every industry has their differences, okay? Every industry has their differences, but you have to make sure you've got a good fulfillment process. And I'm going to tell you a story that really came to bite me in the behind, because Only twice in my life have I had a chargeback. Now that is not a threat for or an invitation to y'all charge me back. Okay. I try very hard to make sure that when you give me your money, you are getting the value that you expected to get. I work very hard on that. I do know I still owe people for Juneteenth as far as getting them their products. And I'm working on getting that backlog cleared, because with all the different platform changes we've had, we lost a lot of recordings. We lost a lot of stuff. Okay. So I'm doing my best to piece all that together. But for the most part, when you buy something through me, there are different things along the way that you have to acknowledge, whether you get a refund or don't. And I try to give grace as much things as I can. Like if we have an event and you buy your $99 ticket, I want you to have the ability to get your refund if you need to, if life happens. But if you're trying to get a refund the day before, well, I already done bought your t-shirt. I've already ordered your mug. I've already ordered this pens. I've already ordered your Padfolio or whatever it is that I'm giving away. Like that $99 didn't just go in my pocket. I'm not there yet. One day I will be, but I'm not there yet. Like I like to have stuff at my conferences. And so you're not going to get that money back within a couple of days, but I usually try to give as much as I can. And so I've only had 2 chargebacks. And one was somebody who went to one of these gurus who said, cancel all your other subscriptions, charge back all your other stuff, and only focus on us for 90 days or whatever it is. That was one. And I was really upset that she did that, because that's not fair. I really, if you're taking up with one of those people that teaches that, unless you got fired, lost a loved one, or some other extreme financial hardship, I don't think it's fair for you to back out on your obligations, your commitments. Hold on, my screen backed out. I don't think it's fair for you to back out of your commitment and then blame the service provider. It'd be better if you came to me directly and said, hey, I lost my job. Can you please stop my payments? Of course, I'm going to stop your payments. Now, if I see that you just bought you a new car and then you were talking about how you bought a new big screen TV for the big game, well, when you want to come back, I probably won't let you come back. You're going to have to finish paying for that other thing first, right? But I mean, if your house burned down, of course I'm going to let you out of that agreement, okay? And the other one I had, though, she bought through Stripe. She bought her Juneteenth conference through Stripe. And after she bought the ticket, because I tried to set them up a year out, I had set it up on a platform called Event Noir, and I didn't realize that the Stripe tickets were still out there, because in my mind, if I don't send you the link, you shouldn't be able to find it. Well, she found it. I don't know how she found it, but she found it. And she bought a ticket that was supposed to give her recordings and all this stuff. And she legit never got nothing, because I didn't even get a notification that she paid me. And you're like, well, how did you miss $100? Well, I was doing a conference. I mean, we're talking, we're talking $20,000 to $30,000 to $50,000 flowing back and forth between the venue and the event planners and all that stuff. I mean, I'm not trying to say $100 is not a big deal, but in that kind of context, $100 is kind of in the ebb and flow of things, And so I didn't notice until she did the chargeback. But the reason I didn't know that she paid me is I didn't have a good process for keeping track of that. I was flying by the seat of my pants trying to get this conference done. And because I was going off of emotion and some caffeine instead of solid processes, I caused trouble for my business down the line. And so you want to make sure that you have some efficient processes. You want to have efficient processes for how you manage your relationship with your clients. You want to have efficient processes for your order fulfillment. You want to make sure that you have efficient processes for all the different things that we have talked about tonight. Okay. And so now those are my 3 keys. Those are my 3 keys that you need in order to build a business that you can work from home for 2 hours or less. Okay. If you can narrow down your ikigai, What is it that is the intersection of what you love to do, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you're good at? If you can make sure you've got easy profit pathways, so not only how do you get their money, but how do you walk them up the value ladder? And if you can make sure you implement some efficient processes and get in the habit of always challenging the efficiency of what you're doing as your business grows, you can run your full-time business for only 2 hours a day. Now, I hope that has sounded really good to you. I hope that you are interested in joining us. Now, here's the cool thing. All right. I'm going into my system right now. I'm looking at my messages, and I see all these folks who have already jumped in. And guess what? Because you took action, you are free. It says down here the first 3 are free. I'm basically going to cut it off as of this moment. Everybody who already said they were going to jump in, you are not going to have to pay for this class. Now, you will notice that this class is a very, very low price. So why do you think I'm making this class a very, very low price? Who wants to put in the chat, why am I making this a very low price when my time is worth a lot more than $9? Why do you think I'm making this price super low? Drop it in the chat. Drop it in the chat. Yes, thank you so much for being on today. Oh my goodness, it always makes my heart sing when people will come on and they're participating in the class. And thank you for letting me use your business as a test case. I hope you get some clients from it. Somebody said one of my favorite cartoons, and I forget what motivated the conversation, but somebody said something about exposures, and one of my favorite cartoons is, yeah, but I can't pay rent with exposures. Okay. Yes. So this is $9 is not quite a lead magnet. Okay. It's like a lead magnet. Okay. My one-on-one coaching is $2.99 an hour for one-on-one coaching, right? I am charging this for $9 because I am creating an entry level. I am creating an entry level door. This is an entry level gate. I want more people to be exposed to my work, but I do not want a whole bunch of people in there who are just coming in for the fishes and loaves. I want people who are actually serious. And you say, well, $9 isn't a whole lot of money, but it's better than zero. And it's amazing. So this is something that you may not know, that some of you may not know today. There's a huge difference with even just paying $1. There's a huge energetic difference that happens when you are exchanging your valuable, what they call consideration. Your valuable money is going into the hands of somebody else in exchange for a service. It is different energetically than if you come to the class for free. But those of you that already took action, because you took action, I know that you are the kind of people that I want in the class. So you're getting in the class for free, okay? As my gift to you for taking fast action. Because, normally when we have these conferences, or not conferences, normally when we have these classes, I teach a wonderful webinar and then I show you all the value. I mean, this workshop that we're going to do is probably about a $1,500 value of hands-on time that I'm going to spend with you on your business and the worksheets and things that I'm going to give you to walk through it. Okay. And then we have if you take action fast, you get something from me. If you pay in full, you get something from me. Well, at $9, you better pay in full. We don't have a payment plan on the $9. And if you need a payment plan on the $9, I ain't mad at you. I'm not being judgy. I'm just saying, this is not the thing for you right now. You have to take the things that I already talked about and implement those first and test the market and make your first $9. See, if you were paying attention, you could take what I taught you tonight and you can have another couple $100 in your pocket before our next Thursday class. So if you didn't catch all that, I want you to watch it again. And if you're listening to me as part of the podcast, we split this up into different podcasts. We split our Thursday night classes up. This class is already at 2 hours and 12 minutes. So with this class, it's going to be split up into 3, probably 4 podcasts. And so you want to go back and listen to all of them, or go out to YouTube where you can see me and you can see the value ladder that I drew. I love this thing. Isn't that gorgeous? All right, take your screenshots. Here, I'll put it up here. Y'all take your screenshots. Let's see. There you go. Let me smile for the camera. Okay, anyway. I want an entry. I want an entry barrier. I would rather have, this is just me. This is just JJ Conway, okay? I'd rather have 7 people in the class that crossed the entry barrier than have 200 people that aren't going to buy anything. Because if you're willing to pay $9 to get into my the entry level to my class, then when we get in the class and I sell you the $29 packet, because of course, now pay attention to this if you're trying to start a business. I am modeling for you the business as we are teaching about the business. Of course, I can't give you everything I know in a day-long class. So we're going to have some you do it stuff that you can buy at the end of that class. And if you buy that stuff, you can take those worksheets and you can do them yourselves, and they're going to increase your profit and increase your effectiveness. But you know what else I'm going to have? I'm going to have opportunities for you to work with me in a done with you capacity where we're sitting down one-on-one and I'm entirely focused on you and your situation. Do you see how the value ladder works? Y'all, this is one of the most powerful concepts you will ever have. Okay. But I mean, in some events, yes, I want butts and seats. I want as many people in there. And if it's free, that's fine. It looks good on camera. But this isn't that. This is, I want people who are ready to change their lives. And you're not ready to change your life if you're just going through life kicking the tires. You know, and I understand. I remember what it was like to be $800,000 in debt. But don't you worry, the deal of the century will come around every week. The deal of the century comes around every week. And if you didn't know now, you'll know the next time. Whenever I put the registration number up early, you jump in on it before I reveal the pricing or the structure, and you might just get the blessing. All right. I think that's everything I have on this. Okay. Yep. That's everything that I have on this. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to give you the heads up because I'm going to switch my slides. And if you want to drop off. I am not going to be offended if I drop off. Actually, the sad part is I keep seeing people are coming in and I'm like, man, I just want to keep going. But we are done with the 2-hour business teaching tonight. The how to write your business in 2 hours. We're done with that. But one of the things that I do want to do is I want to give a Juneteenth update. And as many of you know, I am the founder of the Juneteenth Legacy Conference. We started the conference before Juneteenth was a holiday. The conference was started because I, as a person of color, did not know the full story of Juneteenth. I had heard of Juneteenth, which apparently a lot of people outside of Texas haven't heard of Juneteenth before it became a holiday. I had heard of it, but I thought it was a 6-month delay. I didn't realize that the slaves did not know they were free for 2.5 years. And when I began to draw parallels from the story of Juneteenth and the history of Juneteenth, and I looked at the parallels to the life that many of us live today, and free from this issue and free from that issue, but yet we didn't know we were free. And so that happens in today's world. And this conference looks at those things. It looks at the racial disparities, and it looks at, in healthcare. I'm sorry, let me say that again. It looks at the racial disparities of healthcare, education, economic success, getting access to funds, all those kinds of different things. And more than just event session, which most conferences on these topics are, more than just event session, we look at what to actually do about it. How do we create an action plan to get you where you want to be? And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to tell you what I'm selling, and you're not going to see it written in public, but what I'm going to be selling is how to build a Trump-proof business. That is what I'm going to be selling at Juneteenth Legacy this year. How to build a Trump-proof future-proof business. How to build a business that no matter what's going on in the economy will always allow you to succeed. There are certain businesses that always stand the test of time. And even if that business or that company has to shift, there is a way to future-proof your business, your life, and your family so that you can weather whatever storms the world puts out. See, nobody is going to take care of us like we take care of us. And so it's up to us to take care of ourselves. It's up to us to be connected with ourselves. And it's up to us to educate each other and assist each other and lift up each other. That's what Juneteenth Legacy Conference is all about. So now, if you'll give me a second, I'm going to reset my slides. I'm going to get a little something to drink, and then I'm going to start doing the Juneteenth update. But for those of you who are on for our Thursday night Building Wealth Together class, that class is officially over. I thank y'all for being on with me. I hope you have a great night. You know, my handle is JJ Knows the Way. You can find me on social media at JJ Knows the Way. And the only reason I know the way is because I know the one who is the way. And if you need to know the one who is the way, well, talk to me today and I can show you the way. I just appreciate y'all for being on the line. If you're watching this on the if you're listening to this as a part of the podcast, then I hope you'll join us on Thursday nights. But if not, keep hitting those podcasts, y'all. Get them numbers up. Our numbers are continuing to increase and I'm super excited. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. All right, so give me a second now. I'm going to switch over to my Juneteenth slides and we're going to talk a little bit about Juneteenth Legacy Economic Summit. Y'all. All right. I have not had a chance to update my slides with our latest speaker that will be participating. You see the Black Business School, Dr. Boyce Watkins will be making another appearance. We're not sure if it's going to be a virtual appearance or in person. He's considering coming in person, so I'm super excited about that. All right. But if you are, how do I want to say this? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Future-proof your business, your life, and your family. Woo. So now I explained why we started this conference. And the thing is, I know some people are going to say, well, and even my mom, she's like, well, you're not really Black. I mean, your family's from the islands and from Italy. And I'm like, Mom, I get treated like a Black person no matter what. And my dad is Black and my siblings are Black and I'm just Black. And that's just what it is. Now, are there challenges in that situation? Yes, there are challenges in that situation. And that's one of the things that I think, and I'm just going to give grace. I think that's one of the things that my mom was trying to avoid was me being put in that black box, literally black box, right? But the reality is, it doesn't matter if your family is from the islands or your family is from this place or your family's from that place. If you look representative of a person of color in this country, it is going to be harder for you to get where you want to go. Even cultures that consider themselves white. So, for example, we have a fair amount of Hispanic people here in Stephenville, Texas. A lot of people whose families lived this land before this land was actually Texas, back when this land used to be part of Mexico. All right. So I'm not going to argue with them speaking Spanish. All right. That's a whole other discussion. I probably didn't need to go there, but I did. Okay. Even those ladies, when I have talked to some of those ladies who've started businesses, they have the same problem starting businesses that Black people have. Trouble having access to funds. The rents are 3 times higher. The requirements are more exhaustive. Everything is harder. When you start to have success, people want to come put you in your place. Like, these are all experiences that they are having because of the color of their skin and the race, not the race because they're considered white, but the color of their skin and the gender that they're in, and all those things are having the same effect on them that for some of us just waking up Black has for us. And if you are on my channel today and you're like, she's making everything about race, then this discussion isn't for you. Now, this discussion isn't only for Black people. This discussion is for Black people and people who want to understand the situation. because the situation is very real. And before you argue with me, you are not going to argue with me on this, because I don't have a lot of traditional Black appearance when I was younger. I do have more now, but I didn't have the traditional Black appearance. A lot of times people thought I was from India, or people thought I was Hispanic. And so I heard what you said when you didn't know I was Black. You will never get me to agree that we don't have a systemic racism problem in this country. You won't ever get me to agree that we don't have a systemic racism problem in our military. You will never get me to agree that we do not have a systemic racism problem in our schools. You will never get me to agree that we don't have a systemic racism problem in our hospitals and other medical care facilities, because I have seen it firsthand. I have seen how you have acted around me when you didn't know I was Black, and I have seen how you acted around me when you thought I was Black, or when somebody who is more clearly Black walked in the room. Don't play with me on this. I am not in the mood. That's why I have this conference. And if you don't like it, you can just get on your way. Okay? So now, let's talk about the conference. I'm so excited about this conference, y'all, because I had no idea. Y'all, I had no idea. When we picked Fort Worth for this year, I had no idea that we were going to be aligned with so much history. Okay? So now, this slide that I'm bringing up, it says the nation's premier Juneteenth celebration. This is the Freedom Vibes Festival. Oh my goodness. This is the Freedom Vibes Festival that is presented by the National Juneteenth Museum, which I had hoped they would open up this year, but they're opening up next year, but they are launching the festival this year. Y'all, I had no idea that we were going to walk into so much history when we picked Fort Worth for 2025. See, we picked these a ways out. Like next year, we're going to be in Tulsa. The year after that, we're going to be up in Kansas City. And I don't know what we're going to do after that. I think we're going to go to DC. But we picked these a couple years out. And I just picked Fort Worth because it's kind of close to where my husband lives. And I knew that by this year, I would be retired and living with him. I didn't know I was going to be retired earlier than that. But my anticipated retirement date was going to be 2024. So it would make sense to have a conference near there in 2025. But I didn't know that Miss Opal Lee, the grandmother of Juneteenth, was going to lobby for Juneteenth to become an actual holiday. And I didn't know that they were going to build a national Juneteenth museum. And I didn't know that they were going to have all of this history in Fort Worth converging at the time that we have planned our conference in Fort Worth. So I am super excited about this. If you can get here in person, because we are trying to incorporate as much of the historic aspect of what's going on around our conference into our conference. So we're going to be attending some of these events in the Freedom Vibes Festival, and we're going to kick off our actual conference with a historic event. We are going to participate in the Opal's Walk for Freedom with the grandmother of Juneteenth, y'all. Every year, she does a representative walk that's kind of commemorative of the walk that she did from city to city to try to get Juneteenth to become a holiday. And I'm going to paste for you the links here. We have two. If you all want to join us, there's a virtual link and there is a in-person link. So we're going to start our conference off with the in-person link. We're going to start our conference off with the in-person link, and I am going to, my son just knocked over my, my son just knocked over my ring light, and he's about to burst into tears. Let me just give him a quick hug and put the light back on. Yeah, well, sweetie, it's okay. I know you just woke up, but you're not used to being in here in that little pillow bed we made you. Come here. You okay? You want to go in your room now? You sitting here? Okay, go potty. But when you come back, don't knock my light over. Just watch out for it, okay? I know you are. And I'm almost done. After I tell them about our cool conference, then I'm going to come snuggles. Okay. All right. Sorry about that, y'all. Oh, I don't even know where I left off. Okay, so we're going to start off our conference, Juneteenth morning, we are going to be walking with Miss Opal. She'll be 90 years young this year. And I am just super, super excited to be a part of this historic walk. Now, I'm going to post the links. If I can find my Juneteenth links here. There we go. Juneteenth cheat sheet. I'm going to put the links here to register in person if you want to join us in person, but they also have a virtual option. Okay. Both of these options are valid options. Okay. If you can't make it, then just do the virtual. If you can make it, but you want the option to not necessarily be in person, well, just do the virtual. It's okay if you want to sleep in. I'm not going to judge. I just want you to be a part of our team. Okay. So we're going to kick off our event with Opal's Walk for Freedom at 9:00 in the morning. And then we are going to go to our conference. And our conference kickoff speaker, our opening keynote, is going to be Dr. George Fraser. Dr. George Fraser is going to be our opening keynote at 11 a.m. Central Time. And then we are going to have a fantastic collection of in-person and virtual speakers. Now, there is still time for you to register for the event. Okay, so if you go to the website on Event Noir, it's JuneteenthLegacy.com. All right, if you go to JuneteenthLegacy.com, let me see if I can show you all that real quick. Okay. Boop, boop, boop. I know my computer is running slow. There it is. Let's see if I can share that with you. Well, you know what? I don't need it. I'll just show you guys the slide that I just used. Okay, let me go back. Okay, you go to JuneteenthLegacy.com. It's going to take you to this place. Oh, wait, are you guys back on me? Okay, hold on. Okay, there we go. If you go to JuneteenthLegacy.com, it's going to take you back to this page. Click that red button, apply to speak at JLC 2025 here. That'll put you into the initial form. And as soon as we review your initial application, we'll either invite or decline you to fill out a larger application to come in and speak. And if we accept you, then you're in. Okay. It's not that we don't take a long drawn out vetting process. We only have a couple of things that you got to agree to. And if you agree to them, and you can speak and help our people, we are in, you are in like Flynn. Okay. So you're going to want to go to apply to speak at JLC 2025 here. So you get this page by typing in JuneteenthLegacy.com. You're going to come down and do apply to speak at JLC 2025 here. That's going to take you to a short form. It's going to ask you your name, your email, your speaking expertise, and things like that. It's a very short form. And then once vetted, we will send you a jot form to give us your headshot and all that kind of stuff. We still have room for in-person and virtual speakers, but I will say I'm leaning towards more in the room speakers. So if I have a lot of speakers who are trying to be virtual, they may be displaced by how many I have who want to be in person. We have a fabulous Black-owned venue that we're going to be doing in person. And then we also have a fabulous Black-owned hotel that we are using for our reception and our Black Veterans Brunch, okay? So we really want to focus on the in-person experience for this conference. Okay. All right, so let's see. I talked about starting off with the walk. Where's my slides? Oh, there they are. Okay, here we go. We're going to incorporate a lot of this. You'll see some more of that in the next slides. We're going to start off with Opal's Walk for Freedom. Then we're going to have Dr. George Fraser kick us off. Now we're going to move from the walk. From the walk, we're going to go back to our hotels or respective places to clean up. And there's actually 2 dressing rooms at the venue. If you, like me, I don't plan on walking aggressively. You know, look, you know, I don't know. Never mind. Let me just stop. I don't plan on walking too aggressively. And I don't even know how that's going to go. I just know I want to I just want to get there. Is that Event Noir not working? It should be JuneteenthLegacy.com. That should take you to the Event Noir site. Okay. Or if it doesn't, you can look up the 7th annual Juneteenth Legacy. Okay. All right. Thanks for the comment. Okay. We have Dr. Fraser, another one of our guest speakers. I'm super excited because I have not had Brother Bedford speak at one of my conferences before. I'm super excited to have him come in. He has taught me so much. If you ever wonder where I got that phrase, notification to payment received, it was the course I took with him, notification to payments received. And he's going to come in and he's going to speak as well virtually. I do not have I forgot to build the slide for Dr. Boyce Watkins. Dr. Boyce Watkins will be giving us an update, and he may be in person. We haven't confirmed that yet. He's going to either be in person or virtual. We haven't confirmed that yet. But what you see on the next slide is you're going to see several of our past speakers, and I'm hoping that you will be in the next lineup. Okay. You might say, well, I'm not a speaker. I don't know what to talk about. I don't know if I have anything to say. If you've lived this experience and you found some strategies of success, you have something to say. If you have lived this experience and you've persevered, even though everybody tried to tell you were crazy and you were making it up or whatever, then you've got something to say. Come on in and let's have the discussion. You can either come in and speak, or you can even come in and have me interview you, or you can facilitate a roundtable discussion where we're talking about the issues. Okay. Now, one thing I see that I failed to do was actually give y'all the schedule. Did I not give y'all the schedule? Oh, well, let me fix that. Okay, hold on a second. Hold on. Let me stop that screen. Let me go back. Let me put me on there. All right, let me go back. Well, let me get this first because I want to be looking at the camera when I say that. All right. Window. 7th annual Juneteenth. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Can y'all see that? Nope, because I got to show it first. There we go. All right. So here is the page. If you go to JuneteenthLegacy.com, it's going to take you to this. The full URL is events.eventnoir.com/e/Juneteenth Legacy 2025. But if you type in JuneteenthLegacy.com, it should take you here. Okay. You'll find that you have the link here to speak at the conference. That's that big red thing above my pretty picture. Okay. And then as we scroll down, you'll see the schedule. Let me see if I can make my screen a little bigger. One thing I want to note, okay, other than the first 2 years, everything that we've done, the first year. And the second year wasn't public either. Oh, y'all. Okay. The first one wasn't public because we just had it locally in Louisiana. The second one wasn't public because I had been falsely accused of stuff at my job, and they packed up my stuff and walked me out like a criminal. And so I did get my name cleared because I had all my proof, and I had people that helped me and went on my behalf and testified on my behalf that this was a setup and I didn't do it. So I appreciate people for who they are and how much of a blessing they have been in my life. But at that time, I did not want to have a publicly viewed conference. But I had already been planning this conference for quite some time, so we weren't going to cancel it. We just had a very closed session, which is why we don't have recordings for that year. Anyway, vent over. Okay, so there will not be a public broadcast this year. The reason I need you to know that is because in most of our years, either Juneteenth or the other conferences, most of our years, we have had a public broadcast. You either spoke in the conference or you spoke as part of the public broadcast, or both. Some years, all we had was a public broadcast. And some years we had two things going at the same time. We had a free public broadcast that went out around the world, and we had the in-the-room speakers in Chicago or Atlanta or wherever we were at. Okay. We are not doing a public broadcast this year. My decision not to have a public broadcast this year is simply to alleviate some of the fear that people have with what's going on in the United States economy right now. We have several people who speak in this conference who live overseas. They've chosen to become expats, or they are from other countries, but they do their business here and then they go back home. But for the safety and the comfort of people in this country, many of whom are building their businesses while they're still employed in the federal system or in the state government or in any other aspect where coming forward on a Juneteenth kind of thing might disrupt some of their relationships that they need to maintain, we are not going to have a public broadcast. Okay. However, people can still buy access to the Zoom. It is going to be a hybrid event. So we're going to have the in the room and we're going to have the on the Zoom, but it is not going to be public and it is not going to be free because, you know, some people aren't going to pay $50 to come mess with you, but they'll mess with you for free. Okay. So that's part of the motivation for that is we are presenting a gate, just like with my value ladder, we had an entry-level gate. With this conference, we are having an entry-level gate to make sure we have a safe space for people to talk about the very real issues. All right. Okay. So no public broadcast this year. Okay. We are going to, the Wednesday night, we're going to have a welcome reception at the Hotel Dryce Bar. Okay. That's a Black-owned hotel that's about 10 minutes away from where we're having the actual conference. Thursday, we're going to kick off with a walk with Opal Lee. Okay. And I posted the links in the chat, the comments for how you can join our Juneteenth Legacy team virtually or in person. Okay. Then we're going to have our conference at Wed Spaces, Fort Worth. This is a Black-owned venue, two very enterprising Black women who are doing big things. And they gave me a little sneak peek into what's coming next for their next venue that they're going to be opening up. And y'all, I'm just impressed with these folks. Like I was going to find a way to work with them. That's how impressed I was with them being about their business, y'all. And you're going to love them. You're going to love the space. You're going to love the Black Wall Street setup that we have. It's going to be fantastic. Okay. Friday, as we usually do, we have the Black Vets brunch. We're going to do that back at the Hotel Dryce. Again, it's a Black-owned establishment. We're going to have the small conference room there that we can use. And we are going to talk about very real issues for our Black veterans. Okay. I think I probably have a slide on that, but I just want to give you the overview while I'm here. Okay, actually, I don't see a slide for the vets. Where's my vet slide? Oh, Janine, you got to do a better job. Okay, anyway. Yep, I can tell I'm getting tired. I'm using my given name. So that's our schedule of events, okay? And the other thing that we're doing is we're giving all of our speakers the opportunity to conduct pre- and post-conference workshops. So the sooner you register, the more you're going to have access to. Okay. All right. Let me go ahead now and switch back to my slides. And we will tell you some of the other events. What I didn't put on the Event Noir site, and I need to do that, is that we are doing, what's it called? We are, okay, that's a PowerPoint slideshow. Why is it not coming up? Come up. Okay, there we go. One of the things that we're doing is Thursday night, we're going to go see the Orchestra Noir. And let me see if I can put that on there. Oh, I forgot to say, hey, so if you like what you're hearing and you want to apply, wait, let me make sure y'all can see this. I'm all excited. Let me make sure you can see this. Okay, there we go. If you like what you're hearing and you want to speak at the conference, this is the button you pick to do so. I hope that you will be a part of it. Okay. This is the schedule for the Freedom Vibes Festival. Okay. The Freedom Vibes Festival is being hosted by the National Juneteenth Museum, which I think they had intended to open this year, but there's been, a few little issues with the economy and government funding and stuff. So they're going to be opening up next year. I am not intimately involved with that. If you are, and I'm mischaracterizing it, please do come and let me know. But that's my understanding from an outside third party looking in. But why I'm showing you this today is because Thursday, we will be going to this concert, Orchestra Noir. They are from Atlanta, okay? And they will come in and they're going to be doing some performances for us. Not for us in my conference. They're part of the Freedom Vibes conference. But you know what? That conference is for the nation. So I guess we can all take a little bit of ownership. I'm being silly now, y'all. I know I am tired. But we're going to go see them Thursday night. All right. And then we're going to have the Black Veterans Brunch. Should have been the next slide. It's not here. I don't know why it's not here. Sorry about that. But we'll get that on the next update. The Black Veterans Brunch is really important and precious to me because a lot of Black veterans have been denied and continue to be denied the benefits that they have worked so hard for and that they are entitled to. And not just the fact of the systemic racism throughout the bureaucracy that makes it hard, but there has been a very real attempt on the part of the establishment to try and erase retirement benefits and other things from people who have earned them through a variety of underhanded tricks that unless you've lived through it, you don't even really know it's happening. And one of the biggest problems is that because so many people in the military who suffer these indignities then turn around and get a government job, they don't feel comfortable to speak out against it because they're not going to bite the hand that feeds them. But yet when I went through that false accusation and I reached out for help and I couldn't believe this is happening to me, every single person of color, my rank or up that I talked to was like, how did you not know this happens? It happens to all of us. I'm like, well, we don't talk about it. And so then I tried to put together a way for us to talk about it as part of the Juneteenth conference, which we are talking about stuff. But you know what I found out? Nobody wants to go against Uncle Sam when Uncle Sam is doling out the paycheck. Well, Uncle Sam isn't doling out my business. They're not. I've been blacklisted by the Air Force. So not really, just one base. I work on other Air Force bases, but the base that's closest to me, nope. We don't like her. She can't come back. Well, I had a training booked with them. And they wanted the training. It was a John Maxwell training. I had the exclusive license to give that training for that region. And when they found out it was me, they're like, no, you need to cancel or you need to bring in somebody else. And I said, well, I'm the only one in a 5-hour swath that's licensed to bring this. So you either bring me or you don't. And they were like, yeah, no, you've embarrassed our leadership too much. You got too many people fired with your congressional investigation. So anyway, but the Black Veterans Brunch is very important to me because that's a safe space to discuss these issues and more importantly, discuss what can be done about it to help you recover the benefits, help you recover the benefits that you earned. We're not talking about scamming the government. We're not talking about pretending this or pretending that to try to milk the government for more money. We're talking about benefits you shed your blood, sweat, and tears and earned when you were serving in the military. And it's high time you got everything that you were supposed to have. You need to get the therapy that you're supposed to be having. You need to get the physical medical care that you're supposed to be having, the payment and compensation that you're supposed to be having, all of these different things, the values for your dependents that you're supposed to be having, all of that is being blocked for a lot of people of color. And so we're going to talk about that in our Black Veterans Brunch Friday morning. And then the official part of the conference is over. Now, as the unofficial part of the conference, my family, usually when we take this to a town, we spend the rest of the week doing something fun in that town. And this Fort Worth is no different, even though it's only an hour and a half from where we live, 2 hours, hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on where you're going. In this case, we are going to go to the historic stockyards and we're going to see an actual trail run with longhorn cattle. And then we are going to go to a rodeo that night, unless there is something else more cowboy-ish or more black-ish that pops up. Okay. Y'all know I don't do a whole lot of secular music. I don't do really any secular music. So I'm not going to see the OJs. I mean, no shade to them. It's just not my scene. Okay. I need to be able to preach Sunday morning. Okay. And June is our time of consecration. So, you know, the most I'll do is the orchestra. You know, we might We might go to the block party to get some food Saturday before we head back, right? We probably gospel extravaganza of the Freedom Vibes Conference, but that's okay. It's all right. You do what you would like to do, okay? This is a representation of what the National Juneteenth Museum is going to look like when it's finished, which I'm very excited about. I was hoping it would open up for today. I mean, for this month, for next month, but life happens. So we'll just have to come back. We'll just have to come back for the grand opening. Okay. So there is this, and I think that's everything that I have for you regarding the conference overview itself. This is going to be a fantastic conference. If you can get here in person, get here in person. If you can be virtual, be virtual. If you have a product you want to sell, come in and be a part of our Black Wall Street. The setup of this venue is really neat. You're going to love where you're going to be seated, and you're going to love where you're going to have your vending space. It's so quaint. And you know what I love? I love that it's owned by people that look like me. I love that it's owned by women who look like me. And by now, everybody who has a problem with that is no longer watching. But just in case you are, you don't know what difference that makes until you don't have it anymore. You want to argue with me about racism? How about you go live in Hawaii for a little bit, and you'll find out what it's like to have racism towards white people. In fact, I wish we could send all of our officers, all of our Air Force officers, I wish they could do a tour in a place like Hawaii or somewhere else where it's like very few pockets in the world where they're discriminated against as white people, because then you'll understand what it's like for everybody else. And so for me, it's very meaningful. And I hope that you will help me in supporting these small businesses. Okay. Now, that's the overview of the conference. There's a couple things that I need to tell people who are participating in the conference, because I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. Between the wayward college student and all the health issues and all the family drama and all the whatevers, I have not done a good job of keeping people informed of what we need to do. Okay. So if you are a speaker, I'm going to get that portal out to you this week. You will have the portal. It's got all the deadlines for when you send in your stuff, when you send in your speakers, your talk, if you're doing a virtual pre-recorded, if you're writing in the anthology, it's got all of that. Okay. And I really want to talk to you about all of that today, but I am running out of steam. So I'm just going to summarize some of the ways that you participate and the deadlines that I need. Everybody who buys a speaker and author package can either speak or contribute a chapter into the Voices of Legacy anthology, or both. Okay. Both. You can do one or the other or both. Whatever you want to write, you write and send it in to me by May the 15th. I know that's a short turnaround because today's the May the 1st. I keep feeling like it's April the 1st, but it's May. Oh my goodness, y'all, it's May. All right. If you want to speak, you have three options. You can speak in person, live in Fort Worth. You can speak live virtually through Zoom. You can speak with a pre-recorded talk or an interview where I interview you. You can do something like that, and you can do that pre-recorded. You can get that done anytime you want, but I need the recording by 1 June. Okay. I need the recording by 1 June if you're giving me a recording. If you sponsor the events, I talked about it in another presentation. So if you're interested, go back and look. I need to hang that out on the website so that people can look. But if you sponsor, there's certain levels you sponsor at that you can put stuff in the swag bags. Every sponsorship gets a certain number of free tickets. The higher levels you sponsor, the more access you have. So maybe you're not a professional speaker, but you want to come address the audience. Well, you can address the audience. Maybe you want to sponsor at a higher level and do a workshop. You can do that. Okay. The possibilities of sponsorship are endless. It's just a matter of what do you need for your business and how we can both work together. Because the reality is we got the ball dropped on us in February with all the changes going on in government and them taking away all the DEI stuff. They were like, yeah, so your venue that was going to be free because it was a government facility, it's out. You're this and that and the other and that, it's out. This sponsor, that sponsor, they're out. So we really have to take care of us in this instance. Okay. And so if you know it's something that you're interested in, go ahead and get in that application, and then we will be able to move forward. Okay. What else do I need to say about that? We're going to have the Black Wall Street vendor opportunities for you to set up tables and sell your wares. And that's one of my favorite part about these conventions is supporting the vendors who come in. We're going to have opportunities. We're going to have little vignette spaces for you to come in and, maybe film an interview during the breaks or film some podcasts during the breaks. We're going to have those kinds of opportunities. Hotel Dryce itself is absolutely stunning, and you will find some spaces there that you will definitely want to take pictures and make videos for your social media. Absolutely. Okay. And I know there's a whole lot of other stuff that I really want to tell you, but I'm struggling to think of it, and I didn't put it in the slides. And so if you want to speaker vend, I have a whole speakers portal, speakers and authors, not vend. I shouldn't say vend. If you want to speak or be an author for the conference, I have a whole portal, the speakers and authors portal, and it goes from deadline to deadline. So I need your headshot ASAP. I need, if you're going to put something in the virtual book, I need that by this date. If you want to put stuff in the swag bags, I need stuff by that date. Like boom, 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 boom. It just walks you through what you have to do. There are training sessions in there on how to have, if you're going to be virtual, how to have good lighting, how to set yourself up, what kind of mics and everything to use. There's trainings in there on how to create a lead magnet in under 10 minutes or less. So some of you might want to sign up not to speak, but just to get access to the training, because it'll make you a better speaker, author, or coach. Okay. There's going to be access for you to create a lesson that you will then teach to our registrants. So before or after the conference, we give access to our speakers to be able to teach a masterclass or a small workshop or whatever is of their choosing. We set it up, I blast it out to the audience, and then we do it on Zoom, most likely. Or if you have enough people in your area that are registered, then we can do that as well. But most of those are by Zoom. What else do we have? We have opportunities for you to come on the Ladies of Wealth podcast, and we will seek out other media opportunities. So we haven't done that yet because I still haven't gotten the call for speakers out. People have been applying though. I had somebody, they paid their author fee and their speaking registration. They did all that last year at the last conference. And I said, oh, they serious about this thing. And they've been following up like, hey, have you put out more information yet? I'm like, everything keeps changing, because every time I turned around, something new was happening with all the Fort Worth Juneteenth stuff. And so then I was like, oh, wait, I need to find out about this. Okay, they're having that planning meeting. Oh, wait, I got to find out about that. They're having their planning meeting next week. And so then it was just like, it's just been this big ebb and flow. And we finally came to a point where I was like, they keep changing, they keep adding news, we're locking it down. The cattle run is free, and the behind the scenes tour, that's all free. Okay. The rodeo, I'm not sure yet. We'll get that information, but I am actually working on trying to get free access to the rodeo. I was unable to get free or discounted access to the concert, but I kind of understand why. They need to raise money for to finish the museum. We got to understand that, hey, a lot of these institutions that were supporting us are not supporting us anymore. They've withdrawn their sponsorship dollars. So this is a time for us to actually be able to pour in to that community. Now, I will say that this is not the Black Rodeo. Okay. This is not the Black Rodeo. Do you really? Oh, I didn't know that. Hey, how you doing there? I hope you're going to be a part of the conference. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I see them driving past every day, and I'm just like, this whole rural Texas thing is a whole new way of life. And it's so interesting to see the connection from how our food and meat is grown and harvested, and then to picking it up from the grocery store. It's really fascinating, honestly. And I don't think enough of us see that. Like we had some kids that came to stay with us a couple of years ago, and they went to the rodeo. And I had forgotten that a lot of our kids don't ever see grass. They don't climb trees. They don't go barefoot in the backyard. They don't even have a backyard. You know what I mean? And it just breaks my heart that so many of our children are missing some of these aspects of a well-rounded childhood through no fault of their own, and honestly through no fault of their parents either. And so that's a whole nother discussion we can have. But I did a video on that earlier today if y'all want to check it out, for as long as Facebook leaves it up anyway. So let's see. I know there's a lot of things I need to get out to y'all, but I think that's about it for tonight. Does anybody have any questions? Go ahead and put them in here. Again, the cattle is free. The behind the scenes tour for that is free. And when I structure the activities, I try to accommodate my family. In years past, we have had a consecration fast in June. And so we would fast from Sunday to Wednesday evening. So that's part of why Juneteenth Legacy always started that Wednesday evening. It would start that Wednesday evening with a dinner. And then that Thursday, which just happens this year, Juneteenth is on that Thursday. But then that Thursday we would have the conference, and then that Friday and Saturday my family would sightsee, and then Sunday we would go home. So wherever we traveled for the conference. And so I had to come up with some different activities this year because we've changed the format of our fasting. And so I'll be fasting till 4. So any of y'all that came in our previous conferences and you saw me joking about my Tupperware, I'm not joking this year. We paid for that food. Y'all fill up my Tupperware so I can eat it later. All right, y'all. I think that's everything. If you are already registered for the conference, and we already have people paid and registered for the conference, the early bird tickets are only $29 right now, whether you're in person or virtual. And if you buy an in-person ticket, you already get a virtual ticket, okay? Because if you go walk with Opal Lee and then you're kind of late getting cleaned up because you like walked, or you had so much fun connecting to so many. I mean, when you see the people that are coming to this thing, you're going to be amazed at how many historical figures come to this thing, right? Maybe you decide to take a little bit longer time freshening up, but you don't want to miss Dr. Fraser. So we are going to give everybody who registers in person, you're also going to get the virtual link, okay? So if you think you might come in person at all, go ahead and just get the in-person and don't get the virtual and then try to upgrade later. There may not be a room for you later. We can always take you off the in-person role and put you in virtual. Okay. Now I'm not mailing you your stuff for free. If you decide the night before that you were out too late partying and you decide you're not going to come, well, you got to come pick up your stuff, or you can, give us some shipping and we'll mail it to you because we don't have a lot of margin. We're keeping the costs down because people are worried about their jobs, right? But yeah, go ahead and get your in-person ticket so that way you've got it locked down. What else? I don't know. Yeah, I can't express through the screen how excited I am. I'm telling you, I had no idea how much history was going to converge. And there's something about, I was advised by some of my mentors to just make it online again. And I was like, I don't want to make it online because we had a good momentum going. And then last year, the Legacy Center in Atlanta went bankrupt. They foreclosed on it. We couldn't have our conference there. And I was like, we lost so much momentum. And then I was like, okay, Lord, if this is you, I'm just going to go ahead and take it online. But everything in my spirit was like, no, you have to be here. You have to go through this. Go ahead and find another venue. Since you lost the government-backed one, you lost the government backing. Find another venue. Make this work. And I'm telling you, every step of the way, when this pops up or that pops up or that pops up or that pops up, it lets me know this is why the Lord had us come to Fort Worth in 2025. You've got to be a part of this historic event. Y'all, you got to get here. You got to get here. You got to get here. Okay, well, I think that's good for one night. I'm going to put that page back up again. It is JuneteenthLegacy.com. And when you go to JuneteenthLegacy.com, okay, JuneteenthLegacy.com. Somebody put it in the chat already. They put the actual direct link. Okay. So JuneteenthLegacy.com ports you to this page. Eventually it will actually be its own page, but we had it its own page and then I just took it down so we could, because things kept changing and I didn't want to have out of date information. And so I didn't want to look. Didn't we talk about making your processes easier? Didn't we talk about that earlier today? I was updating like 3 or 4 different pages every time new information came in. And I was like, you know what? Let's just put it all on the event page and we'll just port the name over to the event page. So, JuneteenthLegacy.com. You go out to JuneteenthLegacy.com and you'll be able to apply as a speaker as well as get your tickets. Now, let me show you the tickets real quick. You know what? I'm not going to do that. You can click them. But I'm going to go ahead and go now if there's no other questions. I appreciate y'all for being online with us tonight. This has been so much fun. Thank you for those of you who let me look at your businesses. Thank you for that. Those of you who participated in the chat, thank you for that. I hope I see all y'all. And Dennis, I don't know if you're still on here, but you said you wrote that book of poetry. I'm gonna put it out there. I need you to be either a virtual or an in-person vendor so we can sell your book of poetry at the conference. All right. We take if you do virtual vending, we have 2 ways for you to do that. Now, in-person vending, you buy your table, you set your stuff up, you sell your stuff, you keep your money. But virtual vending, if you don't already have a pathway to vend your stuff, so like maybe you've written an ebook, but you don't have a way to sell it, or maybe you've got some documents that's kind of an ebook. maybe you've got a video course, but you don't have a platform yet. We have a platform. All you have to do is work with us to create the platform, and we can do it for you in one of 2 ways. We can do it for you where you pay a flat fee and you keep all your proceeds. We send you all your proceeds for however long that course or that music or those files or whatever it is on our platform. Or if you don't have the upfront vendor fee, what we can do is a split, where you create the course in our platform, and then we take that platform and sell your course. So let's say you've got an ebook. Dennis, are you still on? He's probably gone because I know they're an hour ahead of us. And we're going on 3 hours. It is 1 a.m. Oh, y'all on Eastern time. I'm so impressed with y'all. Y'all just made my night. You just made my night. Well, you know what? Never mind. I was about to say something I shouldn't say in public because I'm sure my husband's listening to me. So I want to make sure people know that he can make my night too. But okay, this is going downhill fast. But y'all made my night. I didn't realize how late it was. Okay, look, real quick. Let me explain this to you. Okay, you have an ebook. Okay, you done wrote a book. Okay, this is an in-person book, but you wrote an ebook. We can show you how to put it in Kindle, and we can show you do all this. No. You can take the class on how to put it in Kindle. Okay, you can buy the class on how to put it in Kindle. But what you can do is you can take your ebook, and if you don't know how to do any of that, you send me your ebook. I create you an ebook class in the Juneteenth Legacy Academy. And then in the Academy, when someone buys your ebook, you have 1 of 2 ways we can do it. You either pay the vendor fee to me, flat fee, and you keep all the proceeds. Or if you don't have the flat fee, you pay me. You give me your book, I post it. And then when it sells, I take a cut. And the cut is very reasonable in my sense because I have to pay for the platform and I have to pay the processing fees, and all that has to come out of my pocket to sell your book. But I don't mind that. When it's helping you get a leg up. See, I'm not just here to sell classes and sell coaching and run conferences and make people's money and take their money and put it in my pocket. See, I like to do that. Don't get me wrong. I like your money. I like when you buy something with me because I use it to do good in the community. Okay. And I can't do the good that I do in the community without money. And if the Lord doesn't put the money in my hand, then I'm relying on other people to put the money in my hand. Okay. So I'm never going to say, I don't want your money. I will take your money. Not a problem with that. However, the more important is that are pathways for you to succeed when nobody else would create a pathway for you. Pathways for you to open up doors to a business when nobody else would let you hang out a shingle. Pathways for you to sell your ebook when you didn't have an audience to sell to and you're still trying to grow. Pathways for you to sell your first course. Pathways for you to sell your first course on a reputable site that isn't fly by night and people don't have to worry that their credit card's going to get spammed when they buy something with you. I can't open up every door for you. But the doors that I can open, I'm going to open them up for you. And that's why you need to be a part of this conference. You either need to be a part of this conference because you need some doors opened up, or you need to be a part of this conference because you want to be that person that opens up doors for others. But every time you try to open up a door for somebody else, it seems like they take advantage of you, or they don't work hard, or they feel like they can ride off your coattails. See, that's not this group. This group, we all work hard in this group, but we all play hard in this group, and we all get the blessing in this group, and we're all building wealth in this group. Woo, y'all, I'm fired up. All right. But it is 12:45 and I better cut it off and let everybody get to bed and let my family get to bed. Y'all, thank you so much for being on with me tonight. You don't know how much good it does my heart. Y'all take care. Take care tonight. Take care and be blessed. And don't forget to go out to JuneteenthLegacy.com.